It's time for TWiT This Week in Tech, and it's a very special episode celebrating 10 years since our founding. We've brought back the original cast of the very first episode of This Week in Tech. Stay tuned, and amazing evenings ahead.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 506, recorded Sunday, April 19th, 2015. This decade in TWiT. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Dropbox for Business. Dropbox for Business lets your team sync and share files just like Dropbox. Take advantage of the existing usage and familiarity of Dropbox, and don't waste time trying to find a different solution. Visit Dropbox.com/business for a free 14-day trial. That's Dropbox.com/business. And by Lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/twit2. That's LYNDA.com/twit and the number 2. And by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to audible.com/twit2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter, user ID audible_com. And by Casper, an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price. Because everyone deserves a great night's sleep. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting Casper.com/twit and enter the promo code TWIT. This is TWiT, ladies and gentlemen, a very special episode of TWiT, our 10th anniversary episode. It was April 17th, 2005, that we recorded what we consider episode 1. Actually, there was an episode before that, episode 0, recorded in January of that year. At the 21st Amendment Brew Pub. And I think you were all there except for John C. Dvorak. Let me introduce the panel. We'll talk about it. Starting on my left, Robert Heron. Heron Fidelity. Great to see you, Robert.
Good to see you, Leo.
I'm so thrilled you guys could be here. Patrick Norton.
Hey.
My former, well, you've been on TWiT many times, but knew you from the Screensavers as I knew Robert, and
knew me from the Screensavers.
And both of you agreed. I knew you.
I used to check Leo's badge when he came into the building on the Screensavers.
You look familiar.
He's a lovely man.
Were you here yesterday?
and of course, because TWiT was really just a chance to get together with my old buddies from Tech TV. You were here for that. John C. Dvorak wasn't on the first episode.
No,
I think you were on the third.
I think so. Yeah.
There's the famous episode where your Skype died. And you were texting me, and I was reading messages from Dvorak Beyond the Grave.
That was like 100 or something. That was deep.
No, I don't think it was that. I remember we were in the little room. David Prager also here.
Happy to be back, and I still feel like I didn't deserve it. I feel to be on episode 0. I was just happened to be there, so I'm still honored.
Well, everybody
at the bar, just at the bar.
Everybody in episode 0 just happened to be there.
True.
You understand?
Well, I mean, we went there and we specifically sat down and recorded something.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't think anyone had any idea.
The Screensavers was nothing without Prager. The ability to just say when something went wrong, Prager is great. We have a new guy, by the way. His name is Needles. Needles, and it's great. You always have to have somebody that you can shout his name, and he'll go
scapegoat. Yes.
Yeah, scapegoat. Well, that's one way to put it. Yeah. Roger Chang is also here. Good to see you, Roger.
Thank you for having me.
And you worked with me on Call for Help as well as
yeah, I started my internship 2 weeks before the network launched.
Wow.
And I was on Screensavers and Call for Help. I was PA until we got Prager to take over my place.
Somebody lower than you.
That was me.
We're definitely going to talk about what you guys are all up to. I guess we should do our news.
Well, you should also introduce this audience. Look at the size of this group.
Well, and we had to cut it off.
Shoot a camera at him.
And I feel so bad because we got so many requests to be part of this 10th anniversary show.
Standing room only. Look back there.
And I'm really thrilled to have everybody. So thank you, everybody for being here. We really appreciate it.
Woo!
And for those of you on the waiting list, I'm sorry we couldn't get you in, but there's only one toilet, and we just really didn't feel like it would be fair to all of you. And that's nervous laughter.
It was the fire marshal outside.
There's probably also
There's
a little
cop
bit,
out there
of
too.
that. So, but the first Screensavers wasn't first screensavers. First, well, we called it the Revenge of the Screensavers. I think you may remember. And but the first one was just us sitting around after a Macworld at a brew pub, chatting. And you saw that picture, Jason, because somebody tweeted the picture to David Prager of the group. Now you may notice there's one person missing from that group, missing here today, and that's Kevin Rose, who was going to be here, had to get on a plane, couldn't make it. He has sent a video greeting, which we'll play a little bit later. But look how fresh-faced Kevin looks. He looks so young there. Roger Chang, that's Patrick Norton's hair sticking out. That's where you left it. You might want to check. The still lovely Sarah Norton to your left, David Prager, and me. And I had a recorder, and I was very spontaneous. I didn't plan it. I said, hey, let's just talk. We talked for 20 minutes. 30,000 people downloaded that episode. And I thought, boy, it'd be great if we could.
It was 30,000 people in like the first day, and then it got up to like 130,000 in 3 weeks. Yeah, you were like, I think we have a thing here. We have a situation.
We got to do. But you were all in different places, and it wasn't. Kevin was in L.A. And it wasn't practicable to do a show. And then I think it was on the radio show a couple of months later. Somebody called in via Skype. I said, wow, that sounds good. What if the light went off? We could do a show and everybody be on Skype. So it was April. It was in April of 2005 that I said, let's just try this. We'll call it. We didn't have a name. No. The Revenge of the Screensavers. I have a list of things. You weren't here, John, but you came soon after. But
I was snubbed.
You, Patrick, decided you were leaving Sprint for Verizon. Who's your carrier now?
AT&T.
Yeah, so
I was on Verizon for a whopping 3 months because I moved into a hole in the outer sunset of San Francisco where Verizon did not work.
Yeah.
I had to walk 2 blocks to use my phone.
Verizon seems to be getting worse around here. I don't know if it's worse in San Francisco. Kevin said he hated his Trio 650. That was his phone.
That was kind of the first smartphone, I think.
Is that the one that had the lid that flipped?
No, it had a keyboard. It was the first one that had a keyboard, and it was kind of like a device where you could multitask.
It was running Palm OS, I think.
Yeah, it was like a Palm Pilot with a keyboard and CDMA radio.
He said he wants better screen resolution and a better camera. There it is.
Funny.
That looks like a BlackBerry. That's on Sprint. Everybody was excited for Verizon Vcast.
I don't even remember that.
What was that? I think they were going to do streaming TV.
It was like a media. It was some sort of streaming media.
It was their horrible, the antenna or the screen would flip out of the phone and you'd be able to watch television over Verizon's network.
And
it was horrendous.
Yeah. Robert Heron said, I'm using Nextel.
Oh, man.
But I don't like the chirp sound when you push to talk.
I missed that push to talk.
You lived on push to talk.
That worked really well. But you know what, though? I ended up donating that phone to a good cause. So it didn't
You
go.
remember it?
Oh, yes. It was the first color display I had on a phone.
What was the tax write-off you took?
I took no tax write-off on that one.
$10.
Nowadays, I tend to save every smartphone I have now. Since, for a few generations at least. So,
which leads us into a Gazelle
ad. I'm just going to check here because... No, I did it too. It's the sad thing is it's accelerated, and the flagship phones have accelerated. So if your desire is to see what all the flagship phones and how they work are, it's almost impossible to keep up now. But isn't it funny? 10 years from now, we'll say,
keeping up.
And Leo was talking about his Galaxy S6 Edge. What a terrible! Isn't that's pretty? Though.
This is your favorite thing in the world.
It is. I am in love with it. It's my new lover until Friday, when my new lover will arrive.
Oh, what is that?
The Apple Watch.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
David, you're a watch guy. I remember for a long time you wore a stolen Tag Heuer.
I did. No, it wasn't a stolen one. It was a fabrication of what looked like a tag.
Oh, you said some guy walked up to you on the street and you said you want to buy this for $50.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't real. No, I bought it for like $10.
$10.
No, but I think about watches. I think is that, and I don't know how much it totally applies to Apple Watches, but I used to think the fact that you could put the equivalent of a car on your arm is pretty dumb. I thought, I don't understand why you need something the price of a car to put on your arm. But then you start thinking about the mechanics of it and the machining of it and the moving parts, and it's a piece of art.
Are you moving to watch, Phil?
I'm not becoming a huge watch guy, but I can appreciate and understand how a watch can be a piece of fine art from a mechanical perspective. It is far removed from, I think, the discussions around smartwatches.
I agree.
But the thing is, people are trying to compare them. That's why, a few weeks ago, Kevin was writing all about the gold edition, why you're paying extra money for, 18 karat gold that's worth X. And I kind of agree on his
He
side.
said it's a douchebag detector.
Well, because there's one thing is putting a smartwatch that has capabilities on your arm, and then there's one but putting a gold leaf on it.
Well, it's like we just bought my son his first watch. It's a Timex, right? And if it was the Apple Timex, no, hold on.
My first watch. You think your son needs a watch?
Yeah, to tell time. It's part of, you remember? Kids have to learn how to tell time.
Do they do the pie face time? Do they do analog time?
Let's not even go into the educational aspect of it, because my
kids do not know how to tell time with hands.
Yes, well,
big hand, little hand. Remember that? They don't know that.
You know, if my children wake up in 1941 and have to figure out whether or not to get out of the boat, they're going to know what time it is.
You're prepared.
But I laugh, right? Because but if you take the $27 Timex watch my son has and electroplate it, it suddenly becomes a $10,000 watch with the same delete expletive $27 innards inside of it.
Well, wait a minute though. That is not electroplated.
That's giving it to him.
And Kevin estimated it's about $2,000 worth of actual gold.
Okay, it's $2,000 worth of actual gold. It's the ruby crystal. Like the only thing I want off that watch is the ruby crystal, which you can get in the less expensive sapphire. Pardon me. But just because, in theory, like I break screens like you open bottles of wine. It just happens, and it happens constantly.
So just by accident.
I can't get the sport. For that.
Yeah. Patrick breaks everything.
It's awesome, but it's like
we were thinking of a new show. So we're going to announce a new show during the show. Okay. So we're brainstorming ideas, and I got one: chair aerobics with Patrick Norton. You sit in a chair, but you have a sledgehammer, and you lift it, you move it, you put. I think it'd be a great show.
Don't we have a video of you with a ball popping underneath you?
I think we do. You want to see it?
Let's fire that.
All right. I have the clip here. It's clip number 7, please, of 33.
Number 7. Okay, that's the audio only one. This is the original one, right?
Okay, so this is the first time it popped, but it wasn't on.
It wasn't on video.
Different
game entirely. The right build order and getting the right macros set up. It's bonkers.
Oh, man. As Will Harris is talking. I just had a little explosion here. my exercise ball popped.
Too many thumbnails.
Is that keeling over?
So people know this by now, but I like to sit on a ball during the shows because it keeps you moving around. We used to do the whole show stand up. But I don't want to do 2 hours. These shows are too long, stand up. And I'm too old, so I sit on a ball. And Colleen, who was our chief engineer, we love Colleen Henry. She's so great. She was our chief engineer at the time. She said, Leo, you're buying expensive balls from Gopher Sport. I can get them for you cheaper. There's a Chinese company that makes the same. It's the same ball, Leo. So we got Chinese balls.
It's not the same guys that made my fake tag watch.
A lot of people have said that about you.
Yeah, but your fake tag watch is still running.
I know.
And show the video. So even after the first one burst, you'd think I'd have learned. But we got a second one, and now this one had sprung a slow leak, and I thought, oh, this will be funny. I'll ride it
slowly go down.
I'll ride it down
mistakenly.
Doesn't quite work like that. Oh, listen to that. By the way, notice the great book, PowerShell in Action.
Oh dear,
full of skill.
I punched a hole in my ball. This is terrible. This is terrible.
I thought this would be so funny. I'll slide down.
I'm sinking.
Yeah, no.
The trap door opens.
The funny thing is, if you don't hurt yourself,
like a million views on that.
You can't stop.
So is that one of the Chinese ones?
Yeah.
So you're a Chinese ball buster.
I'm not against China.
Give it to him. Give it to him, Roger. Don't put up with that.
Hey, don't look at me. It's not mine.
No, the chat room's very useful. Let them write the jokes, and we'll deliver.
Yeah, this show is going to go lewd. I'm absolutely sure of it.
No, because you're going to keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Anyway, buy Gopher Sport anti-burst ultra fit stability balls, and they never pop. They never pop. We have a rack of them. We thought when we first built the studio, we would make our audience sit on balls.
I remember walking in here and being like, why do they have 30 exercise balls?
All these balls.
There was a rack for them.
Yeah, and there still is. Well, maybe we've taken it down by now, but we had a rack. And like 30 balls because we thought that would be more. And frankly, those of you sitting in the metal chairs probably wishing right now you had some balls. But because those
especially those guys from Canada.
No.
Wow, that fell flat. Wow, that was great.
No, we do have uncomfortable. We've gotten more comfortable chairs. We actually went out and got some fancy chairs. So I guess today we'll do some news, but there's stuff to talk about. Just since we're on the watch, somebody already said, "Oh, thank God they're not going to talk about the Apple Watch today." Yes, of course we are.
Because that's all you talk about.
That's all there is to talk about.
I have to tell you, this is an outrageously great phone.
5 minutes with it, and he's already excited about it.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
It's 577 dots per inch, which is a little. We're talking about the Galaxy S6, and this is the Edge.
He's been raving about it.
Did you actually use the Edge?
Weeks.
Have you found the Edge to be useful?
No, there's nothing for the Edge is aesthetic.
What is the Edge part? It's just
well,
the way
there
it's
is
built?
a little bit because it's a super
there's a
AMOLED
toolbar that wraps around the Edge, so you can see the side of your phone when you're laying down in your bed and looking at the side of your phone.
There's a special gesture. You rub it like a genie's lamp. And then it shows
like something else to me.
Oh, you can see it. Where's the camera? There it is. You could see the time, the date, and then I can scroll that, and I can get nothing news.
Fantastic.
Or you can just look at your watch.
Well, I'm thinking the watch is going to be a better.
Isn't it supposed to show? I thought it was supposed to show up there.
Well, that was the problem I had with the Note 4 Edge, which was it's actually upside down. This one finally flips around. So there you go. And when you can assign colors to people, so if you're but see, who leaves their phone face down? That's a bad idea. But if you leave your phone face down, it will glow with the color of the person that's texted you or called you.
On the back or on the side?
No, the side. The Edge glows, so you get a little purple glow coming out of the bottom.
Oh, if you're laying in bed.
Totally useless.
Keep the lights from
Totally
blinding
useless.
you, waking you up. That's my favorite phone, though, right now.
You like it?
Beautiful.
It just feels good in the hand, and the screen.
Do you
is
mind the glow on the edges for the curved parts of the glass, picking up light in the room?
Well, you know, it's a little weird. Yeah, somebody's complained about that, and you do see
Seems
that.
minor just for the feel of those corners or those edges.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying don't spend $100 extra to get the curve. Yeah. Just get a normal
I like Mr.
one.
Green in the chat room. That's a gimmick if I ever seen one.
It is absolutely a gimmick. But remember, I'm the guy who paid $100 for a black painted MacBook. That was $100 extra. Remember, just for black paint. So
imagine if you put 18 karat gold on your iWatch. I mean, on your watch. Sorry.
I would spray it with gold paint. So, are you getting an Apple Watch?
I'm not. And not because I totally don't believe in it, but right now, like the only reason I can see to get one is that some of the beta testers say that if they pull out their phone 100 times a day, they'll now only pull it out about 20 times a day. And the rest of the time they'll look at their watch and spend less time, so they have more time to not be staring at it. Oh. If that really holds true, and I really do pull my phone out 100 times a day, maybe it would be worth it because I get to get the input and then carry on. However, I feel like I'll probably have 500 interactions instead of 100, and maybe it'll be just as bad.
You'll use it more
or worse. But I kind of want to wait. I'm usually an early adopter. I want to wait and see what the jury of hundreds, if not millions, of people have to say, and then maybe I'll consider it.
That's surprisingly intelligent.
What about having to charge it every 18 hours?
So what? Don't you charge your phone every day?
Not necessarily.
I get home, I get in bed, I put my phone on the charger, I'll put my watch on the charger. I do that with the Moto 360 already.
My Moto phone, though, goes
How
2
many
days
people are going to
straight.
get one of these things?
Easy.
You,
a million.
Prager.
The analysts say
after 100 million.
Analysts say there were one. I don't. Of course, analysts are guessing. It's a wild ass guess, but the guess, and I don't know how well founded it is about 1 million pre-orders.
Right.
That's got to be though, like almost all the people are going to get one, at least initially, right?
I don't know. There's a study that said that, and I think it was the study was done the same way as they do exit polls, where they said how much did you spend on your order, and it was over $700.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are clearly the early adopters, and of the sample that they got to respond to the equivalent of that exit poll are the ones that are spending more.
Sure.
I think it's less, but it's that expensive.
It's a $1 billion business already.
Do you really want to spend $450 to $500 on a watch that has a marketplace that's not quite defined yet?
It is a testament to Apple and their amazing ability to market, because it's completely unknown whether this watch is going to work. Is it going to do what you want it to do? Is it going to be of any value? Is it battery life?
I think it's amazing engineering, though. I mean, everything I've seen, even though they're catering the message, and all they do is talk about, the aluminium, among other things. But, like, they put so much work and research, and the ways, of course, they're tailoring the way they present it, but darn thing is incredible.
Well, that's why you seems like you should be buying one.
I just don't know if it's going to enhance my life the right way.
Buy it. Buy it, Prager.
I have too much ADD.
Me too.
And sell it after you buy it.
You're selling your Tesla, right?
Yep.
Why?
Because I don't drive and I live in the city and I have no commute almost, and it's starting to depreciate like a tech product.
Oh no!
Meaning the first gen, I had the 360th one, which in a way is kind of neat. But now mine doesn't have as many sensors as all the new ones, and finally there's a reason for that car to depreciate in value. That specific one, I think the Tesla's Model S
and the newest
ones are the most amazing.
Cash.
Another amazing feat of engineering, but I have no reason to keep. I probably want to get another one, but I might as well wait 6 or 8 months and save that $15,000 to $20,000 in depreciation.
Not a bad idea, but I think we should get back to talking about the watch.
No.
Yeah, I want to do the whole show about the watch or a phone. The phone is a good topic.
Next week will be about the watch. Next week will be about
I'm actually be down at iFixit watching them do the teardown of the watch.
That's fun.
That should be highly amusing.
Back to the watch.
Where are they getting theirs?
I did this for you, John.
Where are they getting
Back
those
to
from?
the watch,
I didn't ask.
But they think they'll have one on the 24th.
I was told they will have like 3.
That was one of the stories this week was that Apple don't even try to buy one at an Apple store.
I thought that was interesting because Aaron's like we're shutting it down indefinitely. I hope everybody ordered one. We'll start selling them in the stores in June-ish.
There is I think, a genuine risk that the watch will come out, and after the first blush, people will go, you know what? No.
You say that about every new Apple product.
Yep. You're an anti-Apple bigot. No, it's a fact. I'm not joking. You know it. I know it. Patrick knows it. Everybody sitting here knows it.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we get a round of applause for the best troll I have ever known, John C. Dvorak.
But
I don't usually point this out, but that was so well done.
A bigot is somebody who decides not on the basis of fact, but just because I hate those guys. I'm not a bigot.
Yeah.
So you're an educated bigot.
I love Apple. Are you kidding? I was one of the rainbow guys. I bought a Mac on the first 300 days.
I remember when you bought the G4 Cube.
Talking about the past.
The day it was canceled.
You're talking about the past.
I have bought every
iPhone.
iPhone.
Got kicked out of the Apple events. You've been this way.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Because people think that, and why would I care? By the way, you want to see what happened on the Apple event? I think we have the video. This goes back to 2010. Apple wasn't streaming these events, so there was no way that you, as a normal person, could see what was going on. I was lucky enough to get an invitation to go see the event. And you know what? One of the things I'm very grateful is I did get to see Steve Jobs introduce the iPhone, introduce the iPad. You were watching a master at work. And I was so excited about it. I knew people were very excited. We had literally several 100,000 people watching the live stream. Because Apple wasn't streaming it. And they're talking to me in my ear because I am on phone communication with the studio. And I thought, oh, what the hell? I opened up the laptop and this is what happened. Apple's own video has a picture of me in the audience. And I don't know if you can really tell, but the way I'm, and see, it's gone full screen, so you could see that, in fact, what I'm doing is holding up my laptop and taking a picture of the speech, and you can see that that's what's going on. In fact, Steve Jobs a couple of times looked over at me and kind of gave me the stink eye, and I realize now that's because he saw himself on the screen. I'm holding up a screen with his picture on it. My video basically is the back of Sam and Scott's head. That was the only way you could watch it.
That's funny. That was your Periscope of the day.
I think I have some. If I'd had Meerkat or Periscope, imagine. In fact, at the last Apple event, everybody Meerkatted it, right? Or what was it? Was it an Apple event? What was the last big event? Now I'm blanking, but it was in January.
So let's do the follow-up.
February.
What happened after this happened?
It was the watch event. Apple,
no, I'm talking about after you violated the rules.
Absolutely nothing.
So you never got invited to anything again.
Well, I don't know if they're even tied together. Nobody came over and said anything.
Coincidence.
I never got a call. I never heard from Apple, but I didn't get invited ever again. But you know what? That's not a big deal because Apple streams them. I wouldn't go even if I got invited at this point because I need to be. No, I wouldn't because I can't cover it from there. I can cover it from here.
on Apple.
And frankly, I was glad to go because it was Steve Jobs to watch this amazing fella at work. But at this point, watching Tim Cook at work, it's like watching paint drying. It's nice, but it's...
Oh, that's going to get in the good graces.
I'm not trying to get in anybody's good graces, what do I care?
Tim had the worst job ever, which was to follow up Steve Jobs' presentations, which were the most amazing, I think, press event I ever saw was when they announced the Intel processors. Because they did such a good job. They did such an amazing job of basically lying to the entire Apple community for years about the performance of the processor, which was incredibly far behind Intel at that point. You know, and like I think it was Olini comes out and he's like, "We're proud to announce we're putting the Intel." Not that Steve Jobs talked like that, and the entire room sounded like everybody had been gut punched. It was just like,
yeah, Paul
and the room
Olini, who's the CEO
for like
of Intel.
30 seconds.
No, well, but there's a similar moment. Remember when Steve came back to Apple and his first Macworld Expo keynote, a big, giant Bill Gates shows up on the screen, like 800 feet tall.
I think that was after the first, I think that was the second one. I don't think it was right off the top.
Well, it was because Apple was in dire straits. They were running out of money. They were literally 3 months from going bankrupt, we've learned. And Bill said, I'll give you $150 million and promise to continue to do Office for the Macintosh. And, of course, you know why? Because Bill saw a DOJ investigation down the road, and he needed to say, hey, we're not a monopoly.
I'm wondering about your timeline, but okay. I know this happened, but I don't know if the time is...
Who cares? Does it matter?
I think this was after the DOJ thing already happened.
Do you have video of that? There he is. Can you imagine the Apple faithful who have for years said Microsoft is the evil empire?
They booed him.
It sounds like they're cheering, they're booing.
Good filtering.
Look at that. Look at that. Not happy.
Booing him in the chat room.
Does he look happy?
He is happy.
He looks snarky.
But you know what?
He's
It was
gloating.
a lifesaver. He threw Apple a lifesaver, and I don't think they would have continued without that money.
I was on the cover of Time magazine. It said, "Thank you, Bill Gates." With Steve Jobs in the corner. And
Yeah.
Bill Gates in the
It was a
screen.
weird moment, and it was. I think that was one of those moments where Steve Jobs learned a big lesson. You don't have some giant head, the head of Oz on the screen.
It had a certain sort of, it's just like the 1984 commercial.
Yeah. It was.
Except that Steve wasn't
Maybe
running
that was,
and carrying a hammer.
Right, maybe that was the
So were you the first person to live stream an Apple event?
It was the last
I think he was.
And that kick-started probably Apple thinking about doing that themselves.
Well, they should have been thinking
They
about
should
that
have
all
been,
along.
But
I think the whole thing was a PR attempt because, I mean, they could have live streamed it anytime they wanted. They stopped because they thought that the hype built around everyone talking about it, and even like all the live blogging that was going on. I mean, it had to be the strategy. And I don't know if the strategy worked, but that's clearly why, because everyone would have watched it, but maybe the hype was even more if everyone couldn't. And I think since then, maybe they've come back. I can't think of any other explanation.
There's an air of exclusivity when certain people get to see things and then tell you.
Right, I think you're right.
And then you add a certain prestige to the whatever product. And now that you're streaming it, now people can look at it and then live tweet or blog.
Yeah, they weren't objecting to the live blogging.
Well, now they realize that having a bunch of people all singing your praises instead of a couple of selected few doing it is a lot more advantageous to get the word out, right?
Don't you think, too, when you watch one of those events that initially, it's very hard for me to control my enthusiasm. Like, I don't care what they show me. They're, oh, my God, gold-plated crap. And it's very hard because they sell it so well.
You're going
like
to buy
the
one of
MacBook.
those.
Everybody, the techno-lust, he said hashtag techno-lust. They're very good at
Wait
that.
a minute, aren't they ripping that off from Darren? Technolist?
Yeah, well, go ahead. Sue him, Darren.
I don't know. I've always been pretty immune to the Apple.
You don't get excited. You
No.
look at those and say, "I got to get that thing."
No.
But I mean,
don't.
you also found out you were pregnant. Oh, cool.
Well, I'm not pregnant, but
By the way,
your
hey,
wife
congratulations.
well, thank you very much.
How old is your baby?
2.5 months.
Boy, girl?
Girl.
What's her name?
Eloise. Ellie for short.
And do you have a wife?
Yes. You can't.
Whoa.
You were the last
That
man
was
to stream
nasty.
an Apple event.
Holy
Roger was the first man to
mackerel.
have a baby without a woman. This is a big episode.
What's
That
your
was-
wife's name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. That's so great. Is she from Australia?
No, she's from New Jersey.
Which is
That's
a lot like
Australia coming into the
American
picture.
That's an in-joke.
There used to be trips to Australia way back in the day.
There's two.
It's trips.
Poor Roger, when back in the Tech TV days, his girlfriend lived 8,000 miles away.
In Australia.
Kind of hard to have a relationship.
Yeah.
But she was a nice woman.
Oh, she was great.
Loved her.
Just on the wrong
Had to
continent.
literally
She actually
mail
lived-
it in. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you very much.
really, really great. And David, did you get married or anything? Any life events?
Not married. Have an amazing girlfriend, and everything is amazing and fantastic.
What are you
And it'll-
doing?
It'll
'Cause
get to somewhere.
You
I'll just
were
say that.
a big part of Revision 3. Frankly, I don't know if people know this, but Kevin and you started it. You really
With
made
Jay, you can't discount
with
Jay.
Jay
He was
Adelson.
the first guy who threw any money at it. He was the catalyst. He's like, if
But
you
you-
guys do this full time, I will give you $50,000. And we didn't like working for Comcast. We thought, all right, let's.
You were
figure
still
it out.
down in LA doing the G4 Tech TV. Was it still the Screensavers, or had it been renamed Attack of the Show when you were there?
It was in process of changing.
Yeah.
I think they've already decided to change the name. We're coming up with a relaunch and rebranding strategy for the show. Kevin had the idea for Dig, which I think he started when you were still host, and pretended that he didn't know about it. Like, hey, look at this cool idea. It's this website I have for
Yeah,
help.
actually,
Dig.
that
was
came
a
after.
little-
Did it come
He had
after?
the idea for it, but I don't think he launched it till you
Because I
guys
think
were down
Dig
in
was
LA.
sort of before Revision 3, but Revision 3 took off faster.
In
and
fact-
then Revision 3 kind of waned before we really got our funding, and Dig was going this way, and all the focus shifted to Dig. And the only reason I can really take any credit for Revision 3, aside from being technically employee 1, I wasn't there on the day 0, I was there on like day 10, is because everyone shifted over to Dig, like, hey, here's this hot internet
when you say-
startup. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to do Revision 3. So I ran it for a year and a half on my own.
You deserve a lot of credit because you made that thing happen.
Well, thanks. But yeah,
and I don't know if people know that.
A lot of pieces fell into place. I worked hard and I feel proud of what I did. And that's just one of the opportunities I was given. And I was luckily in the right place and frame of mind to be able to manage it and take advantage of and have the right ideas for solutions.
On episode 1, 10 years ago of TWiT, Kevin talked about Dig. He spent all his nights and weekends working on it, adding new features like adding friends and RSS feeds for friends. So he was very much involved in Dig. And I remember it was only a few episodes into TWiT that he announced, I think I'm gonna leave G4 and pursue this because I really want to do this. So you left with him? No,
I left honestly like maybe within a month.
Okay.
And that
he
was
left
when
and you said,
they were looking for people to help monetize Revision 3. I'm a TV producer by trade in my background. Right. And I thought, kind of luckily I wasn't a sales guy maybe because I didn't understand. We didn't have, there were no ad units. There was no way to count views. And luckily, since I didn't come from a traditional sales background, I didn't have rules to think about.
Always
I was able to kind of make them up. And making them up was like, who is interested? Who's our audience? And like, what kind of companies can we try to do things for and move the needle for? And that was all CPA, cost per action, even though everyone wanted branding campaigns. And so kind of it's making up ideas and trying it. If you have some semblance of an audience, you can try things and throw darts and see what works.
What was the first Revision 3 show? Was it System?
It was System. It was kind of a hybrid version of The Broken and I guess the newer version of System.
It was like one episode of The Broken, then there were 2 or 3 episodes of The System.
Yeah.
Then Dignation started. Then you brought me on to work with David David Randolph to do System regularly. And then the funding came that summer.
Worst thing that ever happened to you guys was getting funded, by the way.
In 2006? I mean, if we didn't get it, it wouldn't have worked out.
It wouldn't have happened? All right. Here's some from video from System. This is track 6, Jason. Kevin, and I think you too, David, came to visit. And this was when I was working in the smallest room of the cottage. We're a few months into...
How to podcast.
How to podcast. Yeah.
I'm here behind the scenes at TWiT This Week in Tech with host Leo Laporte. Leo, this has to be the most complicated setup I've ever seen in my entire life.
You ain't seen nothing. This is just kind of grown in a bad way. This is actually, we just completed our last time that we're going to do it here in the little mini TWiT office, my Garrett office. We're in the attic of an old bed and breakfast Victorian building. And I do the KFI radio show from here, and that's how we started with TWiT.
Right.
We didn't have a lot of equipment when we first started doing it. In fact, to do the radio show, all I really need is, and all I really had to begin with is this headset mic. This is a good one.
Right.
I spent about $500 for these. This is a Sennheiser HMD
those lasted
25.
about
And then I use this. This is an ISDN
Got rid of those.
codec, they call it. This is the Zephyr from
you get
This
the
is the
idea. You
Marantz
can actually
PMD. This is
still
a
available
670. I sent you a
on YouTube if you want to
expensive.
watch the whole thing.
It records onto a compact flash.
But that was where we started. And do you guys ever remember doing a show? We were all sitting on the floor in that room. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Yeah.
I often sat on the floor.
It was pretty bad.
And it would be like during the hot summer months.
Oh, it was
didn't have
horrible.
really
It
good air
was so hot
conditioning.
up there. It was terrible. Analog was all analog.
Just remember the bathroom having the slanted roof in it, so you would always hit your head.
And a clawfoot tub, though.
Yes.
Remember that? Did you guys ever take a bath when you?
It never occurred to me.
Never occurred. We're gonna take a break. You could see immediately though, as we've been sitting here, it's like it never ended, right? It's just you guys immediately. We have this bond, this rapport.
It never ended. What never ended?
TWiT.
Of course not. You do the show every Sunday.
You still do that? Our 10th anniversary show continues in just a little bit. We actually have a new sponsor. You guys use Dropbox. You know about Dropbox, right? Everybody knows about Dropbox. Everybody uses Dropbox. But Dropbox is available for business. And if you have been using Dropbox, in fact, one of the reasons we started using Dropbox for business is because we had all these Dropbox accounts. Everybody was using their own personal account, right? So Dropbox for Business lets you use Dropbox, the same Dropbox you're familiar with, but designed to work better for business. In fact, 4 million businesses now use Dropbox for business. You can manage the accounts. You can manage billing. You've got control of your data. And, of course, you've got a lot more space. Simple storage and sharing for any kind of file on any platform. Each user starts off with a terabyte. And then you can expand it easily. Very affordable. Staff can collaborate with team members. You can securely invite and control access to outside partners, clients, and vendors. And really the thing that is the most difference for Dropbox for Business is control. And your IT department will like that. You'll like that. For business, you've got powerful admin controls, remote wipe. intuitive sharing permission controls, complete audit logs. You know exactly who's got access to sensitive company data, who doesn't, how you can control that. It integrates beautifully with third-party security and administrative solutions, SIEM, DLP, e-discovery. And it uses encryption, of course, for data in transit and at rest, segmentation and hashing, too, to anonymize files. Extra security features are available like single sign-on, two-step verification. It is, well, you already know Dropbox. It's Dropbox, but better. Dropbox for business. Take advantage of your employees' familiarity with Dropbox and sign up today. Free 2-week trial at Dropbox.com/business. Dropbox.com/business. Thank you so much, Dropbox. I'm really thrilled to have them part of our TWiT family. It's one, you know, it's funny about the advertisers because we really try to use advertisers we use because then I can talk about it. And I've been trying to get Dropbox to advertise on TWiT for probably 5 years. So thrilled to have you.
Can you get us some comp extra space?
You want an extra space? Pick up your microphone first. All right. John C. Dvorak.
Extra space. I need extra space.
John C. Dvorak needs space.
Yeah.
They give you a terabyte with a regular account.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Well,
the cloud has changed so much.
I'm just using the free thing.
Let me get you 3 gigs.
Let me ask you, John.
Okay.
I get no storage.
Because you've always been really negative on cloud storage. You say it's a return to the old days of client-server computing, big computers.
Yeah, I've said that.
Thin client and stuff like that. Have you changed your tune a little bit on that?
No.
God, I love cloud.
Yeah, good.
I use the Chromebook is amazing because I sign into the new Chromebook.
What if Google takes a dislike to you and decides to kick you out and kill your account?
Well, that would be a bad thing.
Yes. Okay.
If he was Secretary of Defense, he'd run a
said.
private email server for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Would you? In the basement?
Yeah, off a laptop. That way I always have it with me.
I feel like the cloud is such a revolution.
I don't know. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but there's a theoretical problem, but it hasn't happened.
Well,
I think it probably has. There's plenty of people that are on the various Yahoo groups that bitch and moan about their whole account being pulled out from under them, and they had to close the groups down.
For one thing,
that's cloud.
Don't just be tied to one source.
Well, if you're in Yahoo groups and you're doing something for needlepoint
Yahoo
or something.
Groups?
This is old. These stories come and go. Yes, Yahoo groups.
Is that what you're worried about?
I'm not worried about it because I don't use these services.
Yeah. I like the cloud. What do you think?
I was having a conversation about this a couple weeks ago, and I can remember when I first started working at Windows Sources, then later on PC Magazine, how there was this big, we're taking control back to the servers, which ended up with,
I don't like.
Java machine. Remember Java machines?
Yeah.
Those were big for 20, 30 minutes. You could really ruin your career in being a sysadmin by moving everybody onto these boxes. But this time it actually is useful and works. But also, there's a lot of stuff I don't want in the cloud. I don't want to have to deal with stuff not streaming or stuff not playing. But like CrashPlan, love CrashPlan.
Yeah.
Because, me and half of my family live in places that might get wiped off the face of the map due to, some sort of natural disaster.
It's not like you put all your eggs in that basket, but that's a second basket that you can have. So that if your original basket breaks a hole in it and the eggs fall out, you have eggs somewhere else.
How many people basically have their entire life or professional life on Google? I mean, everybody works for TWiT. Raise your hands.
Yeah, we use Google. We use Google for work. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Like, you probably don't. You might.
Hybrid. I think the two main reasons for the cloud, in my mind, are work collaboration and more automated, seamless backup. And then the biggest problems are hacking and the fact that you're connected and more places can connect to your data independent of you. Yeah. And then not trusting a large company with your privacy with your privacy or them deciding that you violated some term and taking it away. That's why, for some reason, ever since I used eBay a million years ago for the first time, I would never, ever, ever leave money on PayPal because you always my PayPal account got frozen. I'm like, never leave money on PayPal, ever.
Yeah.
And and your data on the cloud is slightly less
How
important.
much do we have in our PayPal account right now?
Get it out.
Bullet
in the bank.
But we've been using PayPal for donations for 10 years. They don't close accounts after a while. they get to know you.
Yeah. But
right?
I still
you'd think.
If you look like a fly by night, you drain your account at midnight every night.
I know people who've had account. I
think that could bite you.
The first time I ever got money deposited into my account, it was a return on a ski house share. It was a couple $1,000s, and they locked my account down. And they were like, okay, and there's no.
But this is old news. That's a long time ago.
Except that sometimes it doesn't really change because if you some of the companies are great if you dial 1-800 and or try to work with them, and sometimes like there's still an absolute void when you try to deal with any customer service or have a problem.
I think part of the problem, and this is somewhat unqualified, so I don't want to get in too much trouble for really pitching on eBay too much, but when you're doing like sales of personal things online with people you don't know, fraud is really high.
We got ripped off.
And so when there's that much fraud, companies like PayPal are now obviously been owned by eBay forever. They have to have all these checks and balances on being able to like lock money up and possibly return it, or you have it. I mean,
I think part of the problem is
you
have to put a lot of trust in that corporate entity that holds your stuff in the cloud.
Well, you trust your bank.
But at the same time, I don't.
Do you now?
There's
oh, John.
I mean, there's a lot of things.
John, I forgot. Has gold buried in the backyard. I'm sorry.
He's all Bitcoin.
For cloud storage, though, I do actually encrypt anything that I find really important before I upload it.
That's like I use CacheFly too. I encrypt everything I don't want anyone to see.
So we, I don't know, you might even have some pictures. In the early days of the studio, we used Canon XL1 cameras. Those are, they were good in their day. We've gotten so much better now. But I think I wanted a third. I had two, and I think I wanted a third, and I bought one on eBay for, I can't remember, it was a lot of money, $7,000.
I thought you got a bunch of them donated. Or I remember being jealous that you had all of these Canon cameras that no one would want now. Old Canon cameras.
I don't know what we're looking at here. There it is.
From the cottage, yeah.
Yeah. So I bought one, I thought, on eBay.
Hey.
There's Roger Chang and Tom Merritt. What show did... Oh, that's probably East Meets West. Yeah.
Whatever happened to that show?
Do you still do that?
Oh, yeah. Once a month.
Love that show. Except I can't say it. I always say Eats Meets Wets, which would be a great food show.
Eats Meets Wets?
Yeah. It would be a great show for drinking...
It also
Did I mention we're going to announce a new show later? Don't say you don't like that name.
Hopefully not about drinking. The name also reminds me of something else. I won't go into it.
Anyway, I bought online.
At least one guy gets it.
I got it, an XL1 camera, and it never came. And the guy said, "No, I shed it to you. You must have missed." Went on. Finally, I did get a refund. I mean, PayPal will refund your money if you go through the process. But yeah, I never ever bought an expensive item on eBay again.
It's one reason why I don't allow any company that allows you to automate your bill paying. I don't use. I actually have my bank. My bank allows me to pay them.
Wait a minute. You guys, you are in technology. You're technologists, and you're all afraid of technology.
No, we know too much.
Understand how it
we
works.
know too much.
You don't use bill pay?
Once
auto
stiffed on a camera. I got called by lawyers and detectives in 2 different states that they later found out they were chasing down a Russian, basically a Russian organized crime group that was rotating people through hotels in the United States, scamming people buying goods and services on eBay.
Nortinsky?
No, but what happened was I was trying to buy a TIG welder. I won this auction for the TIG welder.
TIG welder?
It's
welds TIGs. It's obvious.
It's basically tungsten inert gas.
It's not an oxyacetylene.
What do you need a tungsten welder for? You're building a submarine?
The tungsten's the electrode. It's for welding steel and stuff. In any case, I needed a welder to do for a project I was working on. I won the bid. It was suspiciously low. There was a picture of a used welder. The guy said the welder was actually new, and I needed to join me in here now. The Western Union, the money.
Oh yeah,
so
I'll do that.
The sale was in New York. He wanted me to send the money, basically like a money order to Ohio, and then they would be shipping me the welder from Florida.
And you agreed?
And I was like, no. I looked at him. I said, great. I'll give the money to escrow.com, and you can send the welder, and you'll get the money when the welder gets shipped to me. Radio silence.
Yeah.
4 days later, I get a message. I get a message, and this guy's like, well, he said you refused to pay for the welder, and he was contacting everybody in the next 4 highest bids, and I sent him $1,700, and I'm like, you're never going to see that money again. I'm like, you sent like $1,700 Western, or $1,000, whatever it was, Western Union to this guy. Apparently, 4 out of the next 5 people on the bidding list all did Western Union to somebody in Indiana or Ohio, and so I get.
By the way, the good news: Western Union gone.
Well, Western Union, whatever it was.
Isn't that gone?
Yeah, you can't send money by Telegram anymore.
Sure you can.
Stop. I'm sending you this money via Telegram. Stop.
Stop.
Please respond to ASAP. Stop. Do you remember those days?
No, I don't.
Did you ever have a little guy run around with a
little hat?
John C. Dvorak?
Well, I remember that. Yeah, that was just recently.
Stop! So Kevin Rose.
That's all Western Union does anymore.
Send money
orders.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they do the last? Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
They did the last telegram.
Maybe the last.
We're talking about money transfer, not telegrams.
I pay my car insurance with Western Union.
Do you?
Yeah.
But you won't use bill pay?
Well, so
here we go.
My process is this.
I can't believe I'm working with such Luddites.
Hey,
whoa.
Wait, hold on. Let me add this. I remember distinctly a period of time back on the Call for Help set where you were complaining because you set up automated bill pay with the service that you no longer used was still charging you and taking money out of your account.
Still using it. It's called Pay Trust. It's in Sioux City, South Dakota. I think they were using prisoners because
sounds right.
There's a big penitentiary there, and all my bills would get sent to South Dakota and then magically appear on the screen, and then they would automatically pay them. I still can't cancel that, by the way, 10 years later.
Ah, well, that's a good argument for your side of the debate.
Boy, aren't you technologically advanced, Leo?
Kevin Rose couldn't be here. Now you know why.
I heard that, yeah.
He sent us a video, though. Let's do you have that Kevin Rose greeting queued up? And I think somebody else, too, from our past.
Hey, Leo, Kevin Rose here. Just wanted to wish you a huge congrats on 10 years of outstanding content. I obviously was a huge fan of yours. You probably don't know this. I used to watch ZDTV back before I joined Tech TV. And so to get to work with you on that show back in 2003 was an absolute honor. And I had so much fun. I learned a ton from you. And then to watch you go and break off and create TWiT as an entrepreneur and build this into an empire, have always been an inspiration to me. And so I thank you for that, and I thank you for the great content. I know you've inspired millions of people out there to understand and get to learn technology in an easier way, which only you can do. So thank you, and I wish you health, happiness, and another 20, 30, 40 plus years of great content.
Hey, Leo, congratulations to you and the entire TWiT TV team. You guys are also amazing, and it feels like just yesterday when I made you sign up for Twitter. #Never forget. You guys are amazing. I love you all. Happy 10th anniversary, TWiT.
Thank you, Justine. Great to see you. We have some pictures of Justine on early Mac Break Weeklies back in the cottage. Always talented, beautiful, and she's going to be a big star. I know that Hollywood's going to. She just was in a movie recently, small part, but I think she's going to be a big star. And thank you, Kevin. We really appreciate that. Sorry you couldn't be here. Did you see the designs for his new app behind him on the blackboard there? Looked like it's square in some.
I think it's just
maybe
art.
Rectangular.
Like it might fit on a watch.
It looked like it was hastily erased before he did the video, or perhaps hastily written up there. Anyway, it's fun. I can't imagine anything I'd rather do on our 10th anniversary than bring back the original crew from the very first Screensavers. It was the Screensavers TWiT. It was called the Revenge of the Screensavers because at the time I was bitter. I don't know. Were you bitter?
No, but I take everything a lot less personally.
Yeah, well, we think you're still bitter. That's
I'm very bitter.
Yeah.
And there was never like a cease and desist for real, was there?
So after we called it the Revenge of the Screensavers, they did in fact. G4 sent me a letter, not a cease and desist, a nice letter saying don't use that name.
Quit.
And
period. It say don't use it. Period.
Period. I mean, it was from a lawyer. But it wasn't a cease and desist. It was just like we'd prefer if you didn't use that name because it was still being Screensavers was still on a show, right? Still being
was
used.
it really? I thought they already transferred.
They hadn't. No, it wasn't AOTS yet. It was still the Screensavers. It was Kevin Rose and Sarah Lane did it,
and Kevin Prager.
Kevin Prager came later, didn't he? Was he on at the first?
They relaunched Attack of the Show with Chi-Lan Liu and Kevin Prager as the hosts.
And the very
first episode of that show.
And Olivia Munn.
She came
made
after
her name
Sarah
on that show.
left. Yeah.
Eating hot dogs. Actually, you remember
what
Patrick?
was this?
And somebody just put it in the chat room. Do you remember that when G4 ended Attack of the Show, it wasn't so long ago, a couple of years ago. I was so thrilled. Joshua Brentano, who worked with all of us at Tech TV, called us and said, hey, you know, it would be a hoot. They don't care anymore.
Oh, my God. That was the best ending
If you
ever.
guys came back for the last show, and at the very end of the last show, you know, we'll go through a goodbye and what fun it's been, and this is our last show. And well, take a look. This is what the very end of Attack of the Show, the last time it aired, and this is what you saw. Do you have it? Yeah, I do. Oh, go back a little bit. Patrick and I, here we go. Get the audio on this because I think I'm actually speaking. It's X'd out. There you go. This is actually play a little bit of this because this is their kind of montage of Olivia Munn eating hot dogs.
That was something to see.
Oh, you were having a dream.
I just had the
No,
weirdest
it's a dream
dream. What
sequence.
happens? My mouth tastes like hot dogs. I dreamt that Tech TV was sold to a cable company that had a name that was an obsolete Apple processor, and they moved us all down to Los Angeles.
L.A.? That's actually worse than hot dog mouth.
And then we had to stop doing tech news, and we started doing this kind of pop culture nightmare gallery. My Uncle Ted was there, and we were all eating pie.
Pie.
Ugh, never mind. It's just too weird. I can't explain it. What do you think a dream like that means?
Who cares? It's time to go to work.
Hey, what's a hype machine? Did we ever review that?
I don't know. You can think about it on the way in. Come on. It's about time to start the show.
Now that's an alternate history I dig, right?
Very, Bob Newhart.
The Tech TV
But
building.
the fact that Brentano, does Brentano have credit for making that happen?
He not only made it, he
so
wrote
good.
it.
It's so good.
And it's a little bit, in some ways, a dig a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was them. And I said, can we say this? And he said, they're no longer paying attention. Go right ahead.
Yeah, they were like, this is the end date. Spend your budget. Go.
Oh, what fun. We should announce our new show now. Because this is kind of a fitting segue into this. So ever since we started this, people, in fact, you know this, people would always come to us and say, when are you going to do the screensavers again? And I always said, we're not. In fact, Patrick and I agreed, there's no point in going backwards. I don't want to be a county fair act. Leo and Patrick.
Selling choppers.
Like it's half of Rush. It's not going to. So, but on the other hand, it was very clear that one of the things that we did with this show, and you were all involved in it, was validate people. And that it was okay to be a geek, technology was cool, and it was okay to be interested in it. Mm-hmm. And I even ran into people already today how many of you watched the old Screensavers show? And how many of you became geeks because of the old Screensaver show? I think a lot of you.
One.
That guy.
The hands shoot down.
But don't you meet people all the time who say, when I first started watching it, and then I got into it because of it, and now I'm doing it for a living. And it was an important thing to do, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I thought I would only do it again if we could do the future. Do it again for the future. And so I think we're going to bring back the Screensavers. And Patrick, we asked you to be part of it on a regular basis. You have something else you're doing, but I know you're going to be the first co-host with me.
Cool.
And John, if you want to, you have to think about this. We've invited you. In fact, we've invited all of you to be part of this for us. We're going to always have a co-host. One of the reasons we want to do it is we have a lot of things we'd like to do that don't merit a weekly show, but a variety show really would help us produce makerspace stuff. And Mike wants to do cooking. John, I want you to do a segment on how to make vinegar.
I think that I'm surprised this has taken you this long. Because you build out the studio with a bunch of sub-studios including
like
over there in the corner, which looks like Screensavers, always look like Screensavers, and still looks like Screensavers.
We went down to San Francisco. Remember how many times we did 2 Screensavers opens, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we drove the first one. We drove a very nice. Was it a Camaro, a Chevelle? What was it?
It was
Hurst shifters.
Wait, the first one? The first one was Jerry's Mustang.
The second but that was Kate and me.
Yes.
That was me and Kate, and I remember because we were trying to make a crime show sort of thing.
Well, you drove like
the old 442 convertible.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And then you moved over to...
It was a 442 and a Hurst shifter.
Yeah.
And the guy told us, don't turn the wheels too hard because the tires are too big. And they'll hit the wheels.
Yeah, don't turn the tires. And then somebody's like, oh, if we could only do a burnout. And the guy's like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, no problem? He's like, sure. You got to get up to about 4,000 RPM and then just drop the clutch. And I got up to 4,000 RPM, and I dropped the clutch, and you squealed. You made the most amazing noise.
Terrifying. There's nothing worse than
you've never seen anyone do that, apparently.
No. In fact, I don't even have those pants anymore.
I actually should probably... Well, it's a good thing, because I got to fly with the Blue Angels, because Lee was like, I don't want to fly with the Blue Angels.
And you passed out. The second one we did, as it turned out, the first one was the safe one. The second one, we rented those little weird things that you drive around San Francisco. You almost flipped it. I'm going, God, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. It's such a stupid show to die for.
Those little yellow things.
Yeah,
the gutless wonders.
These were before the little yellow things. They were kind of like they were the worst of a scooter, a go-kart with like this silver loop up between the two passenger seats, and then two huge outriggers, like you're riding a 5-year-old's bicycle.
Huh.
And they were like, it is impossible to flip. And,
no.
And no. It was
But they had like two wheels up front and one wheel in the back in the middle, and a wheel in the back.
Yeah, and they were like, we need it to rock. So I'm like jamming the steering wheel back and forth. The blood just went like this.
It was very scary. Anyway, we don't want to recreate the screensavers, but we want to nod to the nostalgia of it. So we made the new open for the new show. Actually, can we roll that? I think we have it. This is the return of the screensavers. So we wanted to have us arrive on rockets, but we couldn't manage that. Maybe on another one. In fact, we have some segues in the back, and before you guys leave, we wanted to get a little green screen, and we can add you guys to it. All of the TWiT team is going to be part of this. We're going to do. Yes, you can do it as well, Milo. You already got to? All right. All of the TWiT team is going to be part of this, and all of you, I hope, will be a part of it, because I'm very excited that I feel like we have the facilities to do it, we have the staff to do it. And it is going to be a tip of the hat to something that I think was really important in our lives, but also a look ahead for the future generation. So I'm very excited about that. May 2nd, that launches. We're going to shoot that Saturday afternoons. You'll be able to watch us shoot it live. Come up, I hope. I think you're due for May 2nd.
I believe so.
I believe you're down for May 2nd. So Patrick will be part of the first show, and we hoped you would come on May 10th. No. The 30th?
Yeah, on the 10th, I'm not here. Are you still in? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Now that you've seen it?
Yeah, it looks like
John said
the greatest thing to ever hit television. I lost $5 on a bet, by the way, thanks to this.
Curry said they're going to do this, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't think so?
No, I thought you were going to do a travel show.
I think this, well, but that's one of the things is we've been trying to do a travel show, a med tech show, and this way we could put little segments in throughout. We've got a board in the back. There's some really fun stuff planned. So we're very excited. Thank you for putting up with that. We wanted to make sure people knew about that. I guess it was on Reddit earlier today. Somebody found it. Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. It leaked out. So
Who
I
did
hope
that? How could that be possible?
I don't know. You know what? Our audience is really...
It's on the cloud.
And you know what? Our mistake was we put it on the cloud.
So are you going to have live call-in? Call-in?
Yeah. Going to have call-in. It's going to be very similar. We're even going to have a mailbag. You know, we always had a mailbag segment at the end of the show because it was the G-spot. It was what they call in the business.
The G-spot?
The G-spot.
A mailbag and mailbag. How does those two things go together?
Later on, it became the N spot when we did the
90-minute one. We're not. That's crazy. But A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We're whatever 6 segments, 7 segments. So we always did that as an accordion because you didn't know how long the show would be. Right. It had to be exactly 44
it was in
minutes.
Between commercial, it was the A block or spot, if you want to call it that. And then commercial break B, and then we went 90 minutes. We had it all the way through K, which for all of us working in our rundown, we're like, we have to go through that.
That was a nightmare doing 90 minutes. 5 days a week.
Yes. But the best part about it is a lot of the tech TV shows were live, not even live to tape. They were just taped and edited. And the nice thing about doing a live show is you tape it and you are done.
Why do you think
almost
that's
95%
all we do
of the time?
Live shows
Occasionally, though, when we had to like re-rack the darn thing and take out some random expletive that Pat left or something like that.
That happened once.
Never happened.
Exactly once.
All right, there's an obvious question that needs to be asked. Since this is the intellectual property of Comcast, did you get permission to change it?
No.
Well, then why did you listen to him the first time?
They let the trademark lapse because they were still doing a show called The Screensavers. They haven't done one in 8 years.
And they don't care?
Well, we'll find out.
Same letter.
This letter we'll ignore. We've actually consulted with legal, and they said it's okay.
Ah, legal and upstairs. Okay.
Legal said it's
as long
okay.
as that's all
Wait,
covered.
isn't that where the AC is?
And actually, we debated whether to use it, and we had floated this by you whether you thought it was a good idea. But why not? And it kind of is an immediate way. Oh, I get it. I know what they're going to be doing. So
you
why
can pick
not?
up that old audience, the ones that are still alive.
Yeah,
and they'll watch.
I used to watch that show.
Who owns the .com? Do you have it? Don't tell me it's just lapsed and sitting there and someone's going to nail it right now.
We nailed everything we could, I think. We have the new screensavers.com. I don't know if we tried to get the screensavers. Remember, that was a whole thing, wasn't it? They named the show before finding out if there was a domain available, and it wasn't.
We got the screen.
Eventually.
We couldn't get call for help because wasn't that already taken by someone?
Yeah. Well, so was the screensavers when we started. Remember, our T-shirt said zdtv.com/the screensavers. Remember that? The early days, but eventually I think they found.
What a glorious website we launched with.
That was a constant battle. Tom Merritt was the executive editor of the Screensavers website.
Yes.
Actually, he was the whole thing, wasn't he?
The entire web department,
yeah.
And it was profitable when Comcast bought it. And then they shut down the website.
It wasn't. The website.
The website
was making over $2 million a year.
Yeah.
And Comcast was like, we don't do websites, and shut it down.
They said, but we'll take it, and they sent the box, the server, to L.A. And it's kind of like
still there.
It's
still there.
It's like the Holy Grail in Indiana Jones. It's in a very big warehouse at the back.
Well, they migrated the content off, eventually. In part because I think a lot of people
part of the
went
reason
nuts.
we delayed this and we finally doing. We have been talking to NBC Universal for several years, trying to get rights. How many? 3? A little over. Almost 3 years. Just to get the tapes. Not to do the show, just to get the tapes. Because they say they have all the. I know you don't believe this.
I don't believe
Wait,
it.
you need the tapes of the show?
Yeah, we wanted the old screensavers. We were going to do a kind of Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the old screensavers, and we'd sit here just like this and watch the show and laugh at ourselves.
I have like 8 at home.
Well, they're on YouTube too. But we wanted the originals.
No, that's what I'm saying. I have like 8 to 10 of them.
They actually cataloged all of it. Really, they had it cataloged. It was all tapes, but they barcoded all of them, put keywords on all of it, and the tape library, quite frankly, for back then, was pretty well organized. And I remember trying to find a clip of something back when Joshua Brentano was still there, and they could go find in their deep archive. They couldn't find it because they had tossed all of it everywhere. I mean, it's there, but it's like in boxes and whatever that original database that linked all those barcodes. It might be somewhere, but they can't do it.
I walked into the office one day, and there was a big box of Silicon Spin tapes. Oh, huge. It was like all the shows for 2 years. I said, what are you guys doing with these tapes? Well, we can't reuse them, so we're throwing them out.
Yeah, but
I took them home.
But those were the tapes that they shot on. Those were the tapes that did the extra capture in the studio.
Because everything got put on a hard drive.
Right.
Eventually, yeah.
No.
Then at some
So
point
they could
never
air
made
it.
the tape anymore.
So they could air it. Yeah. We shot to DVC Pro, and then they would. Then it wasn't right away, but within a few years, the NOC was using hard drives.
I remember Kevin Mallon, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they brought in this machine. They rented it for oodles of money.
Yeah.
They wanted to digitize things so that they could do longer commercial breaks, and they secretly would speed up stuff. So you'd be speaking, but it would voice modulate, but then they'd have longer. Yeah. But they digitized everything in order to make longer commercial breaks.
So there's masters and there's masters. What you have, Roger, is probably one kind of master. We've been told by them, by NBC.
I had a stack of them because I needed to return them because I was doing a edit for the show.
But they're DVC Pro, right?
And they said, okay, you're done. It's like, all right.
See ya.
I'll take my stuff with me. So I have 8 to 10. And they're probably studio
They have
copies.
assured us that everything that Tech TV did, not just the screensavers, but Silicon Spin, your show, everything that they did, is somewhere in a storage locker. And we cannot persuade them. We say, we'll rev share with you. We've been unable.
It's because they don't have them.
Or it's buried in
They're
a mountain.
lying to you.
Mountain storage.
Well, if they don't have them, they could just say, oh, you know what? We don't have them. Thanks. See
They
ya.
figured you might sue them or something. There's just a very conservative thing to do is to stall.
Take time, and then I couldn't throw money at them to get them. So
We tried to throw money at them.
and they said it probably wasn't enough money.
I think I had $50 I threw at them.
So if
There's some money.
for this, I'd be amazed. I couldn't
Well, now you just make new content.
Right. We don't really need the old content that much.
No,
it was very dated, but it would have been fun. Anyway, that's how this started, and eventually we just said, oh, screw it. Let's just make new stuff. We'll start over. So I hope you watch. And we're going to continue with a very special 10th anniversary edition with some of my closest friends still, because I don't have any new friends. Roger Chang. Congratulations on the baby. Where are you working these days?
I am freelancing, and then I'm helping out
At
Tom
work,
with
huh?
DTNS.
Oh, good. Oh, that's great. But he's in L.A. Are you up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And David Prager, I've wondered what's your dude, because you got a pretty big payout, I'm sure, after Vision 3 got sold to Discovery.
It was a modest amount.
Enough to not have to work right away.
Enough to, 7 years after running something, enough to be able to take a bit of a break and think about what you want to do. So that was nice.
And you're still thinking?
No. I started an ad agency.
Oh.
I think I've talked about this before to some extent. Maybe not on TWiT.
I don't think you've talked to us about it. Unless
Yeah, it's called The Assembly.
it sounds familiar.
THEASSEMB.ly. The catalyst for that was basically making product videos, kind of almost like Kickstarter campaigns. The cornerstone of half of any Kickstarter campaign outside of the product or service itself is the video that tells the story about that. And so did that kind of for fun when someone was like, hey, I've got this friend with a Kickstarter campaign. So we do that. And then it turned into, well, why don't we graduate from doing Kickstarter campaign videos to doing Fortune 500 ads? And then once we did a couple of, started doing a couple of deals for companies like Gap and Whole Foods,
Nice.
it was more like the startups are the more interesting ones. They just don't have as deep of pockets, but we'd rather do that. So right now we're kind of doing this hybrid model of some of the larger companies that are public and then some of the startups that we're passionate about or some of the ones that, are interested in affording some real marketing. And then the ones that can't, we're starting to dabble more in taking some of the payment for what we do as equity in some of the startups. So
there's the website right there.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Nice. And it's going well, it sounds like.
Yeah,
You got
it's
some
been
big
great.
clients.
Yep.
John, what have you been doing in the last 10 years?
Pretty much nothing. I'm retired. Oh, that's right. I do some podcasting. I do a thing called the No Agenda Show, available at noagendashow.com. We're on episode 714.
Is it that many?
Badge 714.
But at 2 a week, that probably only took you 315 weeks.
Something like that. And then I do DH Unplugged with Andrew Horowitz, and we discuss the stock market, and we're pretty good at picking stocks, even though we don't recommend them.
Did you set up a dummy account so you could just track your investments?
No.
No, you should have.
What's the point? It's a pointless. It's just, it's a spreadsheet. You want to track
You'd be
the
rich
investments
today.
going. Actually, on a couple of these things, we probably would be. And then I come on here once in a while. I still write for PC Magazine, available at PCMag.com. I have a column that comes out every week, and then there's a kind of a magazine. But again, I think No Agenda at noagendashow.com is probably where you want to go to see what we're really up to. Twice a week now.
Now twice weekly. There it is. Mr. Patrick Norton, we know you're doing well with Tech Thing. I'm glad to hear that, too. That's great. And then, what was it? Don't do this at home because it's going to hurt your tongue?
Possibly Unsafe with Michael Hand, which is a DIY show. Possiblyunsafe.com. Tech Thing, TEKTHING.com or YouTube.com/TechThing. And Mr. Robert Heron and I have a new thing.
What?
Oh, my.
Tell us about it. You're launching it? Are you going to launch it here today? This is a surprise to Robert.
It really is. Yep, sorry.
So Robert does home.
Tell you in a second.
You do installations of home theaters, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Heron
mostly
Fidelity.
video calibration too.
Right.
And
That's
calibration.
probably my specialty.
Are you THX certified, Dolby certified?
THX, ISF, and
You do
probably a couple
both of
other
them.
acronyms.
Those are the two big ones. THX
They are.
and ISF.
If you're going to do that
Yeah.
for any length of time, you should get those certifications.
I had
They're
Scott
great.
Wilkinson come in and do my TV. It made
He
it
and I worked on
huge.
your OLED.
Oh, you were there for the OLED.
Yeah.
Which didn't need much. I was surprised.
No, pretty good set. Although Samsung's been out of the game as far as OLED goes for the last couple of years. They made that one, and it was beautiful, but they're waiting.
They made that one. Leo bought it, and then they said, "Okay, that's good. Thanks." See you
I'll actually be
later."
calibrating another OLED, one of LG's new ones.
Are they still? Do you think OLED's the top thing you can get right? I mean, plasma's gone.
Yeah, it is.
Sadly
and it is the best for eye candy. It does that dark black.
beautiful.
If you're sitting in a dark room, it has the best contrast of any TV you can possibly buy right now. There's some other technologies coming out in, say, the next 5 years that will probably give it a good run.
Yeah.
But, you know.
There are.
If you'd been at CES, you'd already own a new TV.
Why? What'd you see?
Because there was just
was it a 4K LCD?
OLED.
OLED.
And actually the
LCDs are still good.
too.
Samsung is doing what they call high dynamic range. And so is Panasonic to a degree.
I think maybe as much as 4K going to be the next thing, isn't it?
It's going to be odd.
But
because
8K.
8K,
Yes, 8K.
They're showing those too. And NHK is already shooting.
We don't have any 4K
that
content.
format.
Why do you want to go to 8K?
But
Actually,
this
there
year
is
you're
some
going to see
4K.
high dynamic range content.
Yeah.
So either movies that were
Netflix
shot
is doing some HDR, aren't they?
Totally, and that's going to probably one of the first ways you'll see it.
Daredevil HDR or what? What is Daredevil? Because it looks weird.
Anything I think that's been shot in the last couple of years with any of the new digital cinema cameras has enough stops of exposure in order to create or to remaster it as HDR.
Right.
The complexity really is that if you think about the studio monitors that the producers are looking at when they make this content for distribution, they're not looking at HDR displays. So
well, good, because neither are we.
But how are you going to make content that's not? If you don't know the characteristics of the display, it's going to be really hard to make content that's supposedly high dynamic range.
Well, we're just now solving that for 4K, so that at every step of the way, you know what you're going to get. There's a standard, and the TV will reflect what's shot. And we still don't have those TVs. That's not till the end of this year, right?
The beauty about Netflix in particular is that there's a new HDMI standard, the plugs type, that is now supporting the metadata for high dynamic range that will be embedded in the content. But if you have
always something,
you're going to get your streaming content over the internet, and things like Netflix, it's just going to be a software update for the TV. You won't have to worry about a port. You won't have to worry about an upgrade there.
And is it a broader color gamut? It's a different color gamut, or
that's the potential.
The space is different.
They want to use the same color space that they're using in commercial cinema right now, which is say another 50% larger than what they use for HD.
Amazing.
So a bigger palette of color, more saturated colors. That's probably just as important as high dynamic range, although high dynamic range really has a good look to it. The TVs that will really be able to support that, though,
are mine.
Are going to be expensive. No, you know what?
No, you're already out there. You got screwed.
That's a debate, though. No, it won't be able to do the peak brightness.
Yeah, nothing.
No,
Don't you think the 4K?
Well, I'm sorry, but how about better content?
Well, don't you think that 4K TVs are gonna deploy faster than HD did over standard def? I think it's going to be a lot faster.
You know what drove that is 3D, because these 3D displays had to have more resolution so that they could.
Don't you remember when you used to watch all this like underwater nature stuff? Because it was the only content available in HD at first.
The eagle soaring stuff we saw at CES every year for 5 years.
The World Cup that happened last year had an entire 4 games. It's the largest sporting event on the planet. 4 games only were done in 4K. Next World Cup, it's going to be 100% all of them streaming.
It's kind of amazing. I was at a ball game on Friday, and there's HD cameras everywhere. And I thought, remember when this was a special thing? And it's not special at all. It's,
go look at the World Series or even all the MLB playoffs, and they've got probably like 750 frames per second on everything happening at the plate. Right. And that's only in the last 3 years.
Awesome. Super slow-mo.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
They did that at the Olympics a couple years back. NBC introduced those cameras that would do a minimum of 500 frames a second, and that really took off. For archive purposes, 4K, 8K is the way it is currently, but don't focus so much on resolution. It's really, I think, more about being able to produce a really bright image in a well-lit room, or the really inky dark black levels that OLED can do in a darker lit room.
Yeah.
So that's
as
way
John
more
says, let's get bring back the Shadow, right? The Lone Ranger. Now that was a show.
They did try to.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Alan's Alley and Fibber McGee. Remember them?
No.
Let's bring back great content like they used to do. I'm sorry.
I think Daredevil was already shot in 4K. Like a lot of the new stuff.
But they're processing it. Have you seen it? It's heavily processed. It's oversaturated and.
I mean, part of it that's just the look. I mean, that's the look they want to go for it.
Yeah. Buy bigger TVs.
Bigger is better.
Bigger. Get a projection system.
Projectors.
And the new show. Come on, tell us.
What?
Are we going to do it, man?
Yeah, why not?
AVXL.com. Come on. Tell.
Talk. Slowly, so everyone can hear.
AVEXCEL.com. So essentially, it's like HD Nation, but it's a podcast. Yeah, but it's not.
And it has a nice big
it's a good way of putting it.
Connector board right there. Is
Are
that
you
it?
guys shooting it in 4K?
Oh, is that it? You're shooting it in 4K?
No, we're shooting it in stereo.
It's an audio.
It's a podcast.
Yeah.
I remember those.
No, that's the way to go.
Twice weekly.
Yeah, we do that on the No Agenda show. It's just audio.
Crowdfunded. We'll take it from there.
You guys going to crowdfund?
That's what has totally transformed the space is crowdfunding. Really, you're a pioneer in that. I mean, it's just anybody can do a show now and actually make a living at it, which is fabulous. Yeah. All right, we tried to hire you. Tried to hire Patrick, but no, he said, no, I don't need you. I got Patreon.
But did he give you the finger?
No, he was very nice about it.
No,
I just don't want people to think that we didn't try to hire.
No, I also came up with alternate ideas. We talked about some different stuff. What's up there? I'm also still doing Twitch, twitch.tv/Twitch.
You still are a regular host on our network, and that's a great show.
No, it's
fun.
And
you're going to be, I hope, a frequent visitor.
It was just time for me to finally experiment with entrepreneurship and ownership of content.
You totally should. It's a great experience. It's really the way to go. And now it's a lot easier than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Our show today brought to you by, you know who's done well? Linda Wyman, lynda.com.
Oh, my goodness. Congrats to Linda.
She used to have her on
she's
the
been doing this
screensavers.
forever, though.
She started doing those great web design books. We used to have her. She's been on the screensaver several times. Those cat eye glasses. Love Linda. She started lynda.com right about that time. I think it was 98, 99. And it has grown now more than 3,000 on-demand classes in the
incredibly
latest
good stuff.
Beautifully produced. It's all video. Written transcript, so you can search the transcript, jump to that part of the video. The video is chunked up nicely so that you can easily jump to the part you want or watch it all. There's Ben Long, my good friend. He is one of my favorite photographers. If you want to learn about photography, Photoshop, if you want to learn about programming, Burt Monroy does Photoshop classes on lynda.com. You're learning from the best and beautifully produced classes. If you're interested in learning how to develop an app, even if you're a complete rank new starter, there are courses on Android Studio Essential Training, Swift for iOS Essential Training courses. There's one called Building a Note-Taking App for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. This one course will have you create a working app from start to finish for all 3 platforms, which I think is great.
It's amazing.
They also have beginner courses on programming for non-programmers, Lynda, lynda.com. John and I both are big fans of photography. The photography courses there, the Photoshop courses, the Lightroom courses couldn't be better. Your lynda.com membership gives you everything. You have the run of the place. You pay a flat monthly rate, so you can take as many classes as you want. A lot of companies use Lynda. We do for training for their staff. And because Lynda works with companies when a new operating system or program is about to come out, Lynda's right there on the spot with brand new courses. So when Yosemite came out, they had Yosemite courses. When iOS 8 came out, they had iOS 8 courses. Whether you're looking to become an expert, whether you're passionate about a hobby, or you just want to learn something new, I have a site for you, Lynda, lynda.com/twit and the number 2. We're going to get you free 10 days. So you can really, 10 days is enough to see everything. Take a whole course if you want, if you're really devoted. lynda.com/twit and the number 2. We love Lynda. We've known her since way back when. And how much did she sell for? They sold it
lots
to LinkedIn for over $1 billion. I think
it was like 1.2.
1.6.
Yeah. It was more than that? I thought
Yay, Lynda.
Nice job, right?
Yeah.
What's also great is that is a 15-year-old ed tech company, right? And it can be selling at startup prices, which is encouraging to a 10-year-old tech ed.
I didn't realize how much B2B they did for some reason. I always just thought it was consumer, but it's mostly business.
A lot of it. We use.
But like the way you said, like it's for training of.
So you're up for sale, Leo? Is that what you're hinting at when you said that?
Is that the other big announcement today?
How much you got?
I got nothing.
You know, yeah.
Here it comes.
Well, if somebody offered me $1.5 billion, it'd be pretty hard to say no.
Yeah, but that's never going to happen.
I'd give you $5. You've been instrumental in this.
No, you give nobody anything. Why would you?
No, I would actually. I've already figured out how much I'm going to give you.
Yeah. Like it'll be less than this lens, I'm sure.
Probably. Are you having fun with that? John's one stipulation, he said, I'll come in, but you got to let me use your camera for
well, he's got this, to reiterate, this is he's got every one of the new Sony cameras, including this one, which is the S.
the Alpha line. Yeah, the Alpha.
I'm sorry, yeah. And then he went out and spent $8,000. Now, I made a mistake last time. When I thought that, because this is the classic 2.0 Summicron, which everybody knows about.
50 millimeter, yeah.
And you said you paid $8 for it. And I said, that's bullshit. You can get these things for $2.
Not that one.
And then I looked it up. This is not the regular one. This is like some aspherical, crazy
Leo model.
This is a crazy expensive lens.
I'm sorry, are you telling me that, is that a $8,000 Prime that you're holding right now?
Yes.
$8,000.
Yes, and I looked it up. And I did all the research. And I said, holy crap.
I bought it by accident.
Mr. Breakable here has got the camera now.
No, he can break it. I bought it by accident. Because
you didn't buy it by accident.
I bought my truck by accident on eBay.
No, it was like a Tesla.
Expect it to go.
It was like a Tesla where you order it and then it's going to be a while before you get it, right? So they said no, it's 9 to 12 months back ordered. So I thought, well, I'll order it now because that way in 9 months I can decide if I'm really willing to spend that kind of money. And they said, oh yeah, no problem, it's back ordered. And then a week later said your lens is on its way. And
so
I went,
you were going to
"What?"
back out? You were just doing kind of a test of your own.
No, it's the same thing with a Tesla. You don't have to say, I'm going to buy a Tesla. You say, let me give you $500. I'm going to reserve a place in line.
It's 5,000, but they'll give you
it back.
$4,950 back at any time. But I mean, now I think if you order at least a Tesla S, you'll probably get it in 3 months. When I pre-ordered mine 3 years before they launched,
3 years
before they delivered the thing.
I remember the day you did that. You're like, okay.
And I'm not a car person.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing.
I'm like,
but you also knew that there was no risk.
But I also wish that I'd bought Tesla stock instead because I could have bought 4 of those cars.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm going to buy Leica stock.
Well, that may not be the best idea now. But yeah, no, that's an $8,000 lens.
Yeah, which I bought by
Is
accident.
it a 2?
Nah.
What's the aperture on it?
2.
It's only 2. It's not like this big wide aperture lens.
It's beside the point. It has no aberration whatsoever.
Did you see they almost landed that Falcon rocket after the latest launch, the Falcon 9?
So that's an interesting plan.
I mean, speaking of Elon Musk, I mean, that's
yeah,
the
this is
segue.
SpaceX. So I'd never heard of this, but the booster that launched a satellite for ISS.
Yeah, they
resupply?
sent the Dragon capsule. Yeah,
or was it a satellite?
It was a resupply. No, it was to the ISS with a resupply. Plenty of stuff in there, but most notably, at least in the press, was an espresso machine.
Hey, you got to have your espresso.
And so there's an Italian
brand?
astronaut up there. I don't know.
It's an Italian astronaut.
And she's she tweeted out a picture of herself wearing a Star Trek uniform, looking out into the bird's nest, I think they call it, where you can see a panoramic view out of the ISS, looking at the Dragon capsule, talking about how there's an espresso machine coming while wearing a Star Trek uniform.
What a
It's
world.
pretty awesome.
But you got to go up there now for a year, right? This is a long poster.
Well, no, there's normally it's like 3 to 6 months.
Oh, it's just this one guy.
Yeah, that one guy's. No, he's still going.
One of the Russian cosmonauts. They're both up there for a year. But the American one's the big story because he's got an identical twin brother on Earth that they're going to try and study at the same time.
They're going to try to communicate without radio.
Yeah.
You've aged 5 years by spending 1 year.
They do quantum entanglement of the
older brother suddenly comes home.
Is it too early to talk about that amazing interstellar moment? When they is this
no
a movie?
spoilers? The movie Interstellar.
No spoilers.
I never saw the movie.
I saw it.
La 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 la.
He's never
Crying
seen
out loud!
Get
the goddamn movie.
Is the Blu-ray out?
Oh please! I always like the spoilers.
Put your fingers in your ears,
It's a great
Patrick.
moment because the whole idea is it's about a black hole. They're very close to the black hole. There's a planet that's actually kind of in the rotational orbit around the black hole.
Ready to go in.
And they know if you go down to this planet, you're going to massive time dilation.
Yeah.
So they're going to go down for a few minutes. But was it every minute is 20 years? What was
7
that?
years or something
like a few minutes is a year. So
A year.
They've been down for like a couple hours.
They get
but it's
stuck down there for 2 hours by accident.
and it's like 8 years or 7 or 8 years.
Come back, and the astronaut in the capsule has been waiting. You've been gone 20 years. Thank God you came back. I was so bored. It was that is cool. Time dilation, cool.
Yes.
Very and that's physics 101. I mean, that's not that's true.
Relativity.
And that's actually happening on the ISS right now by just microseconds.
seconds.
But
Yeah.
not much time. But
So
Einstein, baby.
Now, does that spoil anything? I don't
Time
think
would be
that's
slower for that.
All it did to prove the movie was bad.
It was a great movie.
Most people thought it was crap.
It is a movie that 10 years from now you will say
It's a weird ending.
2001 Space Odyssey also had a weird ending.
2001
but it had a
Space
sequel.
Odyssey was never considered crap by a lot of critics when it first came out. It was considered great.
I think it's a great movie, but anyway.
Okay.
You guys done?
I'm not.
Yeah. They all died.
Rent it for crying out loud. It's worth
You will be scratching your head at some of it. It's like, why is
No one dies. That's the amazing thing about that movie.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that time on TWiT? Remember we did the show from the Apple Store?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. We were all sitting on the thing. There was a bunch of people there.
That was wild, huh?
And you refused to invite a certain female famous podcaster.
Why?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm not going to...
John, you just such a troll.
I'm not a troll.
Was he
What's
always a troll?
trolling?
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
No, it's like when you did the show from the Apple Store over on.
Yeah.
I just remember the guy.
Was it there
Roger McGuinn was there. He brought his
played the guitar.
7-string.
Wasn't Amber there? No.
Amber might have been there.
No, it wasn't Amber I'm talking about.
I just remember the guy running the Goatsy intercept on the Wi-Fi in the
Wasn't that
Apple
funny?
Store. Me walking up behind him and tapping him on the shoulder.
Was it you that caught him?
Yeah.
So somebody was sitting in the Apple Store, had commandeered the Wi-Fi, and made sure that no matter where you went, it was Goatsy.
Yeah.
Very
If
good.
you've never searched for goatse on the internet,
No,
do not do it now.
Don't do it.
And do not do it if you're easily offensible or have children.
It doesn't matter.
It is
Just don't.
for
Yeah, just
anybody the single most offensive picture you will ever see in your life.
Not even close to the most offensive picture.
He has his own top 10.
He's very experienced.
Is it in the top 10?
I'll put it somewhere in the top 20.
Oh, top 20. Okay, so he's got at least 10 worst pictures.
That was the Apple Store on Stockton,
No.
Apple Street.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was a cool event.
It was a cool event. We
It was
had a big
amusing.
panel. Veronica showed up. I saw Veronica there. I was like, wow, that's Veronica Belmont. Anyway.
I don't remember you saying wow.
I did. In my head, I said,
Okay.
wow. I said, wow. Whoa. We have more greetings. I think this is from Paul and Storm, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello there, Leo, from the Paul half of Paul and Storm. Just wanted to send you a very quick happy birthversary, I guess. Happy birthversary, 10 years, wow, 520 weeks in tech. Who thought it was possible? Not me, certainly, but you've proven us wrong. The take-home lessons to be learned, I think, from all of this is, number one, you're very old. Older than me, anyway, which is all that matters. And I'm sending you my own video from the Paul half of Paul and Storm, because I'm the only true fan of the Laporte in This Week in Tech.
Storm
may tell you differently in his video. Don't believe his lies. But congratulations from Paul and Storm. Here's to many, many more years and weeks and tech.
Great.
Hey, Leo, it's Storm. Yeah, I know I'm a cat now. Kind of tired. Anyway, congratulations on the 10 years and stretching out. Here's to another 100 more.
That's great. Thank you, Paul and Storm, the great comedy music duo. They and Jonathan Colton did an event. You remember this event at the Great American Music Hall where they debuted the rock band version of the song that Colton wrote for Portal. Was it Still Alive?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they invited Merlin Mann, me, Veronica Belmont.
Oh, you have a clip.
I think we have a clip. Can you
this
find
should
that?
be
It's
good.
on
This is
YouTube.
quite interesting. I remember this.
To play, and by the way, I'd never played Rock Band ever.
You can't tell at all, though.
Pretty obvious.
Well, you know why you can't tell? If you can't. Because we reversed the stage order. So it looked like I was like playing really well, when it was in fact Veronica that was saving us all like crazy. But I was standing under Veronica's avatar. So it looked like I was doing much better than I was. Merlin was playing drums. I can't remember who else was up on stage. It's on YouTube. We're going to find that.
I'm going to try my best to
But that was a
my
great
search
show.
skills here. But
Just Still Alive, Great American Music Hall. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We'll hold.
Find something that's good here on your list.
Find something that's good.
Yeah, no, it's not coming up.
That's all right. We'll save that.
So let's talk about watches.
Watch?
Yes.
I can't. I am looking forward to it, and I have a feeling it might be a big bust. But
Does that mean you're moving back to the
Did
iPhone
you
6?
see that the LA school? How much did the LA school? Yeah, I have to.
Well, that's right.
Spent a lot of money.
So
How
that
much
so,
did the LA
so
school
you
districts-
got that gorgeous 6. I get first. I get.
You want the Edge?
Oh yeah.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be fine.
It's gonna make me so sad.
Yeah.
So if you get the Edge, can I have the camera?
I didn't die.
getting that
I'm still
camera.
here.
I didn't realize there was a lending library.
This is not the,
you haven't told me about the lending library.
Leo's Wake, although I think it's going to be somewhat like this, actually.
The LA school district is
definitely.
pissed. As well it should be.
Here we go. And I wore a special shirt. There's Jonathan Colton. Veronica Belmont all the way on the left.
Officially announced now, this song, Still Alive, is coming out in Rock Band.
Merlin Mann behind us. It's kind of really not fair having the guy who wrote the song sing it on Rock Band. But ironically, he didn't do as well as Veronica. So it doesn't look like I know what I'm doing because I'm on the wrong side. In fact, there's no notes for me at all.
Yeah, you made Veronica look like a schlub.
Look at that.
Cheers.
Doesn't it look like I know what I'm doing?
You gotta step up your
You're
game,
working
Leo.
it really well.
Meanwhile, there is literally no bass line at all in this song. There we go. Now I'm going to ruin the thing. She saved me, though, a couple of times.
You're getting about 50%.
I'd never played it before. I had no idea what I was supposed to do, even. Merlin was pretty good on the drums. Did you see Veronica there was a piece in Cosmo about her? Was it Cosmo or it was a woman's magazine?
I think it may have been.
Like a superstar. Pretty cool stuff. I think about people like Justine and Veronica and you, John C. Dvorak, and how your careers have just taken off.
Mine's dropped dead. I'm a podcaster.
Hey, say that nicely.
It's like, what do you do for a living? I'm a podcaster.
What do you think of...
There you go.
Is.
Really?
What magazine is that?
It's Cosmopolitan.
Cosmo.
Yeah.
Cosmo.
What does it say? Get that life. Because this is like to inspire women to act like Veronica.
Hey, look, it says podcaster.
How I became a successful podcaster, TV host, and tech expert.
Well, at least you got the podcasting thing in there. That's good.
Podcasting's back, isn't it?
Yeah, there's all kinds of publicity. You use the word now. You were trying to give up on it.
I hate the word. I still hate it.
Netcast. We got a
Does
netcast
this look
going
like,
on.
I mean, are we doing a podcast here? I guess we are.
No, but for some reason they say that there's this renaissance in audio podcasting. I kind of agree if you look at the way whatever mainstream media means. As soon as not to really give it all the credit, but as soon as that damn show Serial, which is a damn good show.
Serial did
but it turned it into you've got a narrative that's kind of like if you look at 15 years ago in television, you'd have drama shows and they wouldn't carry from episode to episode. Now every single show you have to watch it in order, and that was maybe one of the first fiction-based. Well, no, it was nonfiction, but where it continues a narrative from episode to episode.
Yeah, that cliffhanger.
And I think there's a lot more doing that. But then there's all these little upstart podcast networks, quite frankly.
Upstarts.
But it's doing it there was when. There was when TWiT started
right?
and when Revision 3 started and, some of the earlier on, podcasts. And then all of a sudden the rest of the world decided to catch up about 2 years ago. I don't know why.
I mean, part of it's like and I think thanks to groups like PodTrack and a bunch of the people who started on early in podcasts where they held out for CMA deals rather than cost per action deals. And they've been doing their thing. It's just all of a sudden people are noticing that all of these podcasts have been making money and doing their thing in the background, and all of a sudden it's a thing now.
Now that I think about it, I think the main reason is that cord cutting is mainstream now. So now that everyone doesn't have cable,
I wouldn't say it's mainstream.
It's not even cord cutting is not even close to main. A lot of people know about it, but there's still.
But I still feel like I know that here we are, polarized by the coasts and the ways that
polarized.
But I'm saying that I feel like you've hit a place where you can get whatever you want to watch without having cable, and now as a higher percentage of people that are realizing I don't need to traditional means, what's out there in addition to finding my normal shows, what else is out there? And you've got extremely professional content. In a way, I'm like House of Cards might have even started the darn thing. And now everyone else has also the opportunity to spend either big budgets or well-produced on a smaller budget, and all that content's there, and people are now looking for it.
This was the month because Game of Thrones, for the first time, HBO Now allowed you to watch in the United States anyway. It's been going on in Scandinavia, but to watch Game of Thrones without a cable subscription on HBO Now.
Has anybody been watching the new Tina Fey series?
The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
You know what's sad about that?
What? I think it's a fantastic show.
Where is it?
It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. Tina Fey wrote it and proposed it to NBC. They declined.
No, I heard another version of that story.
What'd you hear?
She proposed it to NBC. They bought it. And Netflix bought it out from under them with more money.
Dana Brunetti told me that they had a deal with another big producer when Netflix called.
Who works closely with Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, this was for House of Cards.
Yeah.
And it was on a Triangulation episode. And Netflix called, and Brunetti said, "Oy," and called Spacey and said, "Look, they're offering us," he didn't say at the time, but we now know, $100 million. We can release an entire season at a time. 100% control. The budget's ours. All we have to do is make what we want. Do you want to pull out? I think the other company must have been HBO, but do you want to pull out of whatever this deal is and go with Netflix? And they said...
It couldn't have been upfront money, I wouldn't think, because even with Kevin Spacey and other big stars, I mean, in a way...
But that's what Netflix did differently.
Yeah, but I'm
they
saying
said,
in a way,
here's a check.
When you create a pilot for a big drama, the success and failure rate is almost the same. So you might have an ABC, CBS, or HBO, not even so much HBO. They'll spend $10 million in a pilot, and it might fail, but they might make 10 of them, and if 2 of them hit, that covers the rest of those losses.
Netflix understands that.
Yeah, but the only reason I asked is if they offered to front that much money.
Well, which, I mean, that's why they're going with stuff they generally have a good feeling will be, if not breakout successful, will get a good enough return on what they put into it.
They hadn't made a pilot. I don't think they made a pilot. So all they had was ideas and scripts maybe, and
of all the shows, of all the pilots that they shoot, for a new year, around 40% actually get turned into something that will be broadcast, and even then, you're not guaranteed a full season run, depending on how well the audience.
You know the sad story about Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. You know the plastic surgeon in that. Martin Short.
Oh, yes.
Plays an amazing character.
Did you see that episode?
That's very...
he can't say his name because he has so much filler. He has a name like this.
But he has to pull his face back to talk.
And I didn't know as I'm watching it. It's very funny. Martin Short is a brilliant comic. That's based on a real person.
Yeah, a guy in Florida who committed suicide.
But he was the next week.
Well...
He was a very sensitive fellow.
It wasn't the next week.
It was right after that he saw that. It happened.
Well, whatever the case is, he was a depressive. He had all these other issues, and
he looked exactly
Martin
like
Short
that.
as a stand-up can now legitimately say he really killed.
He killed. Oh God.
Hey, well, I don't need to get booed here.
You can please, folks, don't hold back.
If you want to watch a great documentary, there's called Showrunners.
It's so good.
Isn't that good?
It's great.
Love that. Lisa and I watched that.
It's a really good look. My friend does visual effects. And every February is the start of pilot season. They work like full tilt. And a lot of that stuff is, incredibly complicated. Right. So many hands involved, and it's just this huge beast that people need to get around. And it's, one reason why, shows traditionally don't do very well, because there's only so many you can actually pay for at the end of the pilot season. Is okay, we can pick up 5 of these.
Do you do a cord cutter show at all anymore? You should. You seem to know this stuff. I know Tom's still doing it, yeah. Are you on that regularly?
No.
You should do a cord cutter show. You're good at that.
All right.
You're being offered a job.
I'm saying come do a cord cutter show.
Okay. Right here.
Yeah. Hey, Jason Heiner is here from Tech Republic. Jason, thank you. I saw that the story went up. He got a little scoop there and was able to do a story on ZDNet for the new screensavers. So thank you, Jason. We appreciate that. Jason's a great guy. He got me elected president of the internet.
Ooh.
And you were and by the way,
it's
never
about time.
You did the best thing you did was you never held another election. So thank you.
Whole life.
Isn't that how dictators work? It's like, all right, I'm voted.
I am a dictator now. I'm getting a lot of heat from the Apple folks because I complained to Apple iPhone users to people who love Benito Mussolini because Mussolini got the trains to run on time.
And so?
People apparently didn't like that.
Oh, you made an analogy, and you cited Benito Mussolini.
Yeah. Is that God? Does that break Godwin's law?
Basically, you not only called them fascists, but you called them inept fascists.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what happened.
Sure.
And segue into a sponsor.
Let's go to a commercial real quick. Actually, let me before we do that, to take the bitter taste out of your mouth, we have some more video greetings.
Hello, Leo Laporte. It is David Hewlett from Stargate Atlantis, and I had to say congratulations on 10 amazing years of TWiT TV. You are an inspiration to nerds on this planet and in galaxies far, far away, my friend. Thank you so much for 10 wonderful years of geeky, nerdy, wonderful greatness on TWiT TV. Cheers.
Hey, yo! We wanted to congratulate you for 10 years of This Week in Technology. I have to say we here at TED have done nothing but talk about this major accomplishment in internet history.
Yep, that's pretty much the case. Leo, you rock. Thank you so much. I run all the time and I listen to you, and so I feel like you run along with me. And that's just 10 years of that is fantastic and amazing, and people love you and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't run anywhere.
Leo, it's Chris. I just wanted to wish you a happy 10th anniversary for This Week in Tech. It's a great show. Yep. They're going to kick us out of the theater here, but, you know, Morgan and I, we're overwhelmed with emotion on how happy we are for you. So, congratulations.
Chris Tabona, who, of course, was our first host on Floss Weekly and is still in charge of open source over at the Google. Matt Cutts, who fights spam on Google web pages for Google and was one of the first 100 employees.
I thought he went someplace else.
He's still no. You know what? That was an April Fool's joke and a nasty one at that. And Matt. One of the things Matt does is it does the webmaster tools for Google, He does great videos for webmasters, and he's always saying the best SEO is to make great content. So an SEO firm, I'm not saying a rogue SEO firm, but an SEO firm thought it'd be funny if they announced that they'd hired him. He is not working for them. I asked because I thought, what?
Well,
and then
good
Morgan
April Fool's
Webb
joke works that way.
whom we love and who has, I think, agreed to be one of our co-hosts on an upcoming new Screensavers. Former Tech TV host.
She lived in L.A.
Attack of the Show. She does. And was working at G4
now.
Yeah, they have airplanes.
Cars.
It's amazing.
Soon a bullet train from nowhere to nowhere.
I'm waiting for the bullet train.
When are we getting the Hyperloop? And do you want to get in that?
There are multiple companies working on that right now.
That's Elon Musk's idea for a pneumatic tube.
I'm waiting on the portal.
From L.A. to San Francisco. A Stargate would be nice.
Stargate would be better.
I'd prefer... David, work on the Stargate. That would be really, really nice. Our show today brought to you by one of our... I would say one of, if not the longest sponsor we've had on the show. And I bet you can guess, Audible.com. We love audiobooks. And when they first said, we want to advertise... Everybody said, don't let Audible advertise. People will listen to audiobooks instead of you. But we love Audible so much, I started listening in 2000 on the way to the Screensavers. What a horrible commute from here to San Francisco, you know. And I have 500 books under my belt thanks to Audible that I probably would never have heard. And there's new stuff all the time. I'm currently listening to Becoming Steve Jobs. Which is an amazing, I think better than the Isaacson book, although you should read both. Both are on Audible. In fact, I'm going to get you 2 books. If you go to audible.com/twit2, you'll be signing up for the Platinum Plan. That's 2 books a month. Becoming Steve Jobs, The Evolution of a Reckless Upstart into a Visionary Leader. It's by Brent Schlender, who was a Fortune writer and interviewed Jobs many, many times right from the beginning to the end. And it's really an interesting profile, and with a lot of stuff that I hadn't heard before. So I listened, but then I'm going to listen to some science fiction because I love the science fiction. Got the new Peter F. Hamilton. I'm a big fan of his. Look at that, Elon Musk. The story of Ashley Vance's. Is that Ashley Vance that wrote that? Wow, yes. I didn't know that. Tesla, SpaceX, and the quest for a fantastic future. Look, go to audible.com/twit2. You're going to sign up for the Platinum Plan. That's 2 books. You also get the daily digest of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. They know you want to try before you buy, so listen, get a month free. You don't have to pay anything for the first 30 days. Cancel any time in that period. You pay nothing. The books will be yours to keep anyway. Bestsellers, they come out like crazy. Anybody do Audible? You guys don't have commutes anymore. You do?
I'm looking after it.
If you like you need Audible now.
Oh,
you need Audible now. You can listen to Audible and look after a 2.5-month-old. In fact, yes. Audible is a lifesaver with little kids. If you have a commute, if you go to the gym and the treadmill's so boring, if you walk the dog, wash the dishes, it's great because you can read when your hands are too busy to hold a book. And it's a great, put it in one ear. Put it throughout the house. We listen on the Sonos. I love it. Audible.com. I love this one. The Art of War, that's read by Lord Baelish, Littlefinger, from Game of Thrones. Who better to read Lao Tzu's Art of War than the man who masterminded the entire nut house that is Game of Thrones? Lord Peter Baelish. He sounds good too in it.
Sun Tzu said, "The control of a large force is the same principle as the control of a few men. It is merely a question of dividing up their numbers." Fighting with a large army under your command is no wise different from fighting with a small one.
I think you should have a Scottish accent if you're going to read The Art of War. Don't you? Cool. Audible.com/twit2. That's the place to go to get your 2 free books today. We're celebrating 10 years with cupcakes.
Have you ever have you ever read an audiobook?
There's one on the desk. Have I ever read one? I did a little one that we just did for fun called Little Golden Riding Hood. It's on Audible. You can get it for free. I did a terrible job with it because I was very nervous. John's ran out of battery. I brought a second one. I left it on the desk.
I will go.
Yeah, go get the battery.
There's some.
And then I got asked to do more, but I don't have time.
There's some LeVar Burton's a really good audiobook narrator. He does a great job. Samuel L. Jackson has a very expletive-laden one, but it is the best.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
We read that, so
every new parent loves that book.
Have you read that to your child?
The Samuel L. Jackson version of "Go the F to Sleep."
Veronica gave me the book.
We read it.
Even not so new parents.
For our New Year's Eve thing, we did 24-hour New Year's thing, and the last thing we did is we ended the show at 3 in the morning. I gathered the kids around in our jammies, and we read "Go the F to Sleep," but I didn't delete the expletives. It was fun.
I'll probably save it for when she's slightly older. And
Yeah, a lot older. The 12-year-olds loved it.
Slightly older
Right
and
now
understands
I have her
the
on
word.
my lap and I play Halo.
No.
Yeah.
You're going to poison that, kids. Did you get it, the new one? Yeah, you just put it in and I'll show you.
Like she doesn't remember too much.
How about the... Thank you, my battery. How about the Google Europe thing? A lot of people... I'm really surprised because my first reaction wasn't, oh, that's full of it. But a number of people are saying they're full of it. The Google...
Wait, Google or
the European Union, who says two counts. One, that Google modified their search results to benefit Google properties, particularly in shopping.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that?
Well, because they're a monopoly.
By European rules, it's bad.
And even by U.S. rules, if you use your monopoly to get into a new business. But what they did is they made search results better. And nobody disagrees. They made the search results better, and that's their job.
Well, the way I see it, this is just another example of the EU trying to gouge the American corporations because they're uncompetitive over there.
USA.
Seriously.
Well, it's interesting
but
because
we hide all our profits over there. Ireland alone, how many billions and trillions are hidden
they
away
should
in
be
Ireland?
happy with that.
I mean,
we give them our money. What more do they want?
Well, I mean, the EU's traditionally been a great location for a lot of companies who want to beat other companies upside the head using. I mean, when Microsoft was going through it, it was because Google and a few others.
Yeah, but there's a good example. So both the Department of Justice, which went on for years and years and years in Europe, went after Microsoft for bundling Internet Explorer. By the time all of this was done, it made no difference at all. In fact, the upshot of it in the EU was when you install Windows, no longer, but at the time when you installed Windows in the EU, the user would get an impenetrable menu of 10 different browsers.
It made a big difference. Have you ever looked at the buildings for the EU Parliament?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, where do you think they get the money to pay for that stuff?
Vegas, like the rest of us.
Uh-huh.
They also are going after them for Android. They say that the rules that Google insists upon for companies that want to bundle Google services in Android
is to bundle the Google apps.
Right. And they say that is anti-competitive.
Oh, bad.
But, here's a company that's giving away a free version of it.
So I mean, it's anti-competitive versus what? Windows or
iOS?
iOS?
You don't even get to put iOS on a phone. It's not even an option.
I mean, in some ways, we're looking at it in a very kind of American-centric.
Of course.
I mean, it's the same thing with Zuckerberg and the whole internet.org in India, where a bunch of local companies are saying, no, that's actually anti-competitive by picking and choosing which apps get.
Let's talk about this. This is the initiative Mark Zuckerberg and others have funded, Internet.org, to bring Internet to third world nations.
Developing.
And this is the thanks.
Is third world bad, by the way?
Yes.
Because
it's developing.
Developing.
Yes. Developing economies, emerging economies.
Emerging. Like
So
a teenage girl is what you're saying. So these developing, emerging,
here we go again,
blossoming countries... they want to bring internet to them. Is this the one with drones? Is Internet.org or is it?
No. It's where
that's other third world countries.
They do want to fly unmanned vehicles with internet up there.
The whole idea about Internet.org is that they would have no charges on data that's used by certain applications, and so people will automatically kind of migrate toward those because it won't charge against.
Well, that happens in the United States, right? If I use my
zero, what do they call it? A zero.
I have certain music services don't go against my bandwidth if I'm using on T-Mobile or other.
I mean, if you step all the way back to the beginning, the original purpose of Internet.org is to bring internet connectivity to those of the world population that don't have internet access, which I forget the exact percentage, but it's extremely high. And the thesis, which I believe in, is that the world will be a more connected, better place for more equal opportunity, not completely, obviously, but closer to an equal opportunity if you have connectivity. Now, the big problem, of course, is whether or not those who are putting the opportunity together, which is more than just Facebook, even though Mark Zuckerberg is spearheading it, if you have the opportunity to put certain services at better ease, sometimes that happens.
And this is an anti-Zuckerberg move from India, don't you think? This is saying, well, we'll take the internet, but not the Zuckerberg internet.
Well, they don't want it because... Well, the actual complaint is from service providers or services within India.
Oh, what a
saying,
surprise!
Well, look, basically, okay, if you're basically choosing the certain companies that give out their services free of any data charge, well, we will provide a competing service, but then people will get charged if they use ours.
Yeah.
And so people automatically migrate to the one with the least cost impact.
I mean, it's almost like a weird net neutrality going on.
Yeah, in a way, kind of.
It is. That's what they say, though. They're talking about net neutrality. They're using that.
Well, it's free and access.
How's that
versus
going,
no
by the way,
access at
John?
all.
Have anything bad going on with the net neutrality yet?
Actually, let me ask you a question. You know, because it's unlawful. This can be unlawful, and that can be unlawful. Do you think that with net neutrality actually installed and working,
Is it yet installed, or is it just
no?
still
It's
proposed?
just talking.
Okay.
But once it gets in play and the FCC is controlling everything, do you really think WikiLeaks will stay in business? I don't think so.
How would they shut it down? It's not even in the U.S.
They can shut it down with filtering.
Great firewall of America.
Well, that's definitely happening. But they won't have the Sony memos and a searchable database or any of that stuff. It's unlawful.
So you're saying the FCC is going to manage to put total constraint over all content moving over the internet?
As much as they can. I mean, they can't. You can get around.
How does
a lot
that
of
differ
stuff.
from what the NSA is doing now?
No,
well,
that's
the
the
NSA is
opposite.
not controlling.
They're watching everything.
They're watching everything.
They're not blocking it. They're encouraging it.
But once people start shifting to fully encrypted, web
Right.
web transfers, I mean, will that matter anymore? I mean,
I deeply hope that I said this 10 years ago. Remember, they were doing a movie. It was actually Dana Brunetti was doing a movie about hackers, and then in fact there was a rights dispute and it died. But they interviewed me, and I said at the time, hackers will be the freedom fighters of the 21st century. It's the people who know how to get around things.
Now we know how.
Who will be the? It's not going to be who It's not going to be hide your guns and women. It's going to be hide your computers
and women.
And women.
And your women.
Actually, I'm arming the women, but that might just be the
arm
women
the
in my
women.
life.
I'm going to call it the Blossoming Nations from now on. Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay. John, what you watching on TV these days? What do you
I
like?
saw the Kimmy thing. I watched that. I thought that was very funny, and it's going to get weirder because Tina Fey's
weird.
She's already kind of looking around.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she's astonishing. It's going to really be good.
It's a hit and miss though. There's some bad stuff, but there's some stuff goes.
I thought it was 100%.
Really, a home run.
Yeah, as far as I was concerned.
Have you watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
Oh,
I've only saw the first
about
episode.
half. It grows on you.
I watch Grimm. I think it's a very funny show.
Good. Have you seen Grimm?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I remember when it first
Or you just
started.
like, John watches Grimm? Was that was?
Oh, yeah, I was like, you watch Grimm?
I do. I watch Grimm. It's a very good show. It's one of the few shows that the whole family, we make sure to record it because if you watch it from the beginning, you get most of the jokes. It's very funny. It's a comedy.
Why are we still recording shows? Why can't they just make it on demand?
Yeah,
after
good luck
it
with
airs?
that. Try to find it was on Amazon for a while, this 13-part series that was on AMC called Rubicon, which discusses the intelligence state. And it just disappeared. You can't get this anywhere. But
that happens even for innocuous content. I mean, sometimes stuff just
I
disappears.
agree. It disappears, which is why your complaint will be valid forever.
Record it somehow. Yeah.
I watch some popular stuff, and I watch a few things I still like. Right now, what am I watching? I'm watching the Golden State Warriors.
Aren't we excited? The first time since
72?
72.
Something like that.
Wow. How did you like the
Why are you grilling me?
How'd you like? I'm trying to find something you can talk about. How'd you like the March Madness? Did you enjoy that? The NCAA.
I always
basketball
enjoy the
tournament?
March Madness.
Did it come? You were telling me to watch Kentucky.
Oh, this is what this is leading to.
That was exciting. But they didn't. They lost.
They lost.
The Badgers
yes, they did.
beat them.
The Badgers beat them. Right.
Wasn't that right? Was it Honey Badgers?
No, you got it right. You got it right.
No.
You got it.
Regular
I was
Badgers.
wrong
Wisconsin
about
Badgers.
the Kentucky team.
No, you were. How?
We should probably change the subject just in case Ryan Strout's watching.
Oh, I know.
Because he was
Poor
at
Ryan.
that game, and
Was
apparently
he?
it was a quiet ride home from the game, and then a quiet ride home from
Tears.
Indianapolis back to Kentucky.
Tears were shed.
I don't know if tears were
Poor
shed. I
Ryan.
think he was just silent for like 2 days.
Poor Ryan. Wow.
And then they all had to sit down and realize, well, they had an undefeated season until that game.
Do you, Robert? Do you watch anything besides test patterns on TV?
Yes, I do.
I mean,
He does
not that
watch
there's
a lot.
anything wrong
No,
with test
he does.
patterns.
He does watch a lot of test
I
patterns.
get the test patterns out of the way so I can watch good content.
Yeah.
I binge watched all 3 seasons of House of Cards.
It is.
That was,
Well, now three.
everybody thinks
three was,
three
three was odd,
crap.
But
I never watched 3.
It's a
Everyone
cliffhanger.
keeps telling me it's
So-
crap.
Disappointing.
it wasn't as cool as like the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2. That was just jaw-dropping for a few episodes right there. But
Yeah.
Have you seen Justified yet?
no,
It's a good show.
Good show.
Good show.
That just ended, so it's a
Good
good
show.
thing.
Have you seen
binge
the
watch.
Comedians on FX?
No.
Is that the one where they all tell the same joke?
No, this is Billy Crystal's show.
Oh.
And it's actually produced by one of the co-producers, the originators of the Seinfeld show, Larry Charles, who is the...
It's interviews, though.
No, you're thinking of the Larry Seinfeld driving around with comics. This is called The Comedians. It's a very funny show based on a Swedish premise similar to Bäckström, which is another... Backstrom, which is another Swedish show. I don't know where we're going Swedish.
We're totally all doing This Week in Television.
I know.
And thank you very much. We'll be here all the week.
More greetings.
I didn't start it. He did. I wanted to talk about the watches.
No, you didn't. You lie.
John, did you order?
No. It's too expensive. It's
$350.
It's too rich for my blood.
How about you?
Says the man with the $8,000 lens. I was going to buy one in the store.
It's not my lens. It's Leo's. It's Leo's lens.
It's not my lens. It's not my lens.
All the luxury, none of the cost. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who should have his own show.
There you go.
Living the life.
And what do they call them? The aristocrats. What? I don't know where we're going.
I was going to buy one on the 24th.
You can't.
And now I can't. So
you are going to get
June,
one.
maybe.
I want to get one for testing.
No.
You have to. That's why I got
Is it going to be the blender test? That would be cool.
No.
It's going to be the Patrick Norton test.
That's what you want.
Where he wears it throughout his normal life. And
yeah, I haven't worn watches since I started working at the magazines at Ziff Davis because I was typing 60 hours a week. And my wrist started to throb. So I took the watch off my left wrist, put it on my right wrist, and 6 weeks later, that wrist started to throb. So I started carrying pocket watches again and having any problems with my wrist, no matter how many hours a week I'm typing.
That's interesting.
Give it a couple months. There'll be a bunch of them on eBay.
I think you're right.
I agree.
I think you're right. I think there might be some real disappointment.
The problem is you still have to have an iPhone.
And then there'll be new glasses with new heads-up displays, and I've never heard of those before.
You know, in this book, Becoming Steve Jobs, one of the things they talk about is how Steve and Lorene, his wife, would go to Paris and go to this surprised me. Steve's wearing his, ratty cutoffs, Birkenstock sandals, a black T-shirt, but they go into the haute couture stores, the Dior's, the Cartiers. They go in there. Lorene kind of browses around, and Steve immediately buttonholes the clerks and say, why do you have so little merchandise? Why is it dark over here? Why is it lit this way? This is in 2003, before they opened a store. He was really interested in how you could take a product that clearly has $100 worth of materials in it and sell it for $10,000. What is the process? What is the alchemy that a haute couture designer does to this? Yeah. And it's what's interesting is here we are 15 years later, and that's exactly what Apple's doing, isn't it? They're adding value, perceived value to something. Perceived value.
But don't
There's
they still
no technical
paint the back
value.
of the cabinet? You'll
The
never see it, but they paint the
$17,000
back of
watch
that cabinet.
has the same insides as the $350 watch. So it is perceived
And
value.
that's too expensive.
Yeah. So I think that's very interesting. Of course, there's no better way to become a profitable company than to be able to mark up 1,000%. What's the markup on an Apple Watch? Not the $350, maybe not that much.
About 5x, I think.
Probably.
Typically, Apple was 5x.
No, it's got to be
That's
higher.
the Apple rule.
Is it 5x?
5x on everything, yeah.
5x, 7x? You said there was $2,000 in gold in the watch edition.
I don't know.
5 for 10, yeah.
There's the world of putting a console out and losing money on it because you can sell titles, and then there's the world of this. And then, but they're different. I didn't know that they had rules that were 5x or more. So
no, I'm guessing based on the number you gave about the gold.
Kevin Rose said no more than $2,000 worth of gold in that watch. If the insides, let's say the insides are $200, that means that there's this almost $8,000 profit, 4x profit on that watch. Perfect. But that's without a band. And did you notice the red leather band with the gold buckle is a $7,000 band? What's the markup on that?
That's pretty high.
So
you could buy the whole
crafted under soft moonlight only on Thursdays.
I think that's not. This is what haute couture is all about. It's what Dior does. It's what Chanel does. Those dresses, those schmatas, aren't more than a couple of $100 worth of material.
I think Kevin Rose nailed it.
Label.
This is a douchebag watch.
That's what Rose said.
Yep.
And I wish Kevin were here because I have a feeling he'll be wearing probably an edition.
No.
No?
I mean, I would almost buy one of the gold editions and then just save it, never take it out of the box.
Is it going to appreciate?
No.
I mean, there's the other side where people are complaining about
I have the original iPod. How much would you pay for that?
Yeah. People would pay if it was still in the box. It's probably worth something.
Dip it in gold.
I mean, the funny thing about a watch is that, like,
now how much would you pay?
You can hand your grandfather's watch down that he wore in World War II, and it might be worth something. There's no one's going to be handing down
I've been carrying this watch
Apple Watch with
ass
20 years of old software. No one's going to. It's not worth any good reference.
Heirlooms, like antiques, like any collectible, the value is based on what people are willing to pay for it.
Right.
And that was the thing that baseball cards went through, and then there was a great crash because people were like, "I'm not shelling out $800 for a rookie card." And if people are willing or just so ungodly rich that they can afford to, and it's not a big deal, you'll see that level, that market share buying into it. Well, more pragmatic people are just like, well, I don't need a watch that badly, or I can buy a cheap Timex for like $25.
Jeff Needles, who's today's David Prager here at the TWiT Brick House, he's the guy we shout at, says he went in to do a try-on, and the clerk said, yeah, the other day I sold $200,000 in edition watches to one family. 200,000.
Wait, did he find out what the family was? Who the family was?
Everyone in the family got one.
Yeah, but who was this family?
A very wealthy one.
Well, that's useless information.
Well, I didn't say the name. I'm sorry. Jeff, did they say the name? Do you know who it is?
Jeff left.
Did they upsell them on all the accessories?
They do. They're trained. You saw the manual.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, did they get everything?
Why not?
You have to admire the chutzpah. And the amazing. Sorry, I didn't mean to spit on you. And the amazing marketing. I mean, you have to admire that. You really do.
I don't admire
it's the American way.
At least I think it's just.
We got
it's disgusting.
One of the guys we worked with. In fact, I've got 3 people who worked with us through the years, who decided to record videos, and one of them is going to be back doing new screensavers with us. Actually, maybe all 3 of them. Let's roll that tape.
Hi, I'm Martin Sargent.
Whoa.
When I'm defragging my hard drive, updating my Linux kernel, or overclocking my Patrick Norton doll, I prefer to watch This Week in Tech, and have for 10 wonderful years. Way to go, Leo and the gang.
He even has a portrait.
Leo, congratulations on 10 fantastic years of TWiT
John,
TV.
your favorite girl.
May your show continue to live long and prosper.
Congratulations, Leo, for 10 years of This Week in Tech. Could you have imagined a decade ago me recording this video on a phone? It was possible. And so was my career, thanks to you.
The great Chris Perillo.
This is John Hodgman sending congratulations to Leo Laporte and This Week in Text. Wow, 10 years of This Week in Text. I didn't think people were even texting 10 years ago, but you saw it coming. Congratulations, and keep texting.
I don't know how we got out of this tradition, but we had a tradition every Christmas doing a holiday TWiT with Hodgman, Paul and Storm, Jonathan Colton. It was so much fun. A lot of Jägermeister was consumed. Those were a lot of fun, and they're still online. You can still. That's one of the things I'm proud of. Everything we've done for 10 years is online. That's a lot of shows. We actually, as part of we're designing a new website which will launch next month. As part of it, we've migrated 11,000 episodes. 11,000 episodes migrating over the last 10 years. It's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it?
Kind of terrifying.
That's quite a few.
It's something,
And by the way, Chris, I apologize for making that cheap gag.
We love Chris Perillo.
We do.
Yes. He's small but powerful. They call. You know why they call him locker? I mean, he used to get stuck in the locker.
He claims that he used to be thrown in the locker. I don't believe
the gnome.
Didn't we do a Christmas thing with him on the screensavers? Were you around for that? He did a song when he was doing Call for Help. He did a song. I think you could find this. Would you see if you could find Chris Perillo's Leo's Christmas song? And he performed. We played the video, and then he was in the fridge. Remember, we used to have a fridge.
Yes.
You mean the Geek Library?
The Geek Library. It was an old fridge that was decommissioned, obviously, and it had books in there. And I don't know why we would open it from time to time and.
We do like a segment, like a book.
And we had the refrigerator magnets around the Geek Library. So he did the song, and then we opened the thing, and he was in the fridge, and he hobbled out.
Didn't he do one of the first marathons, or was that were you the first one?
He did the first marathon.
Because he had so many. He was losing it.
The Call for Help-a-thon. I remember.
They had to walk. You had to walk him around the block, right? Because he was
actually Morgan.
He just started
Morgan or Cat.
And he had the guy with the old record that was a spindle.
That was fake.
I know,
that was totally fake.
I know, but it tricked me. I was like, oh, this poor guy.
Chris didn't know it was fake.
Chris didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The whole thing was it was a gag to play on Chris. Everyone else was in on it.
Oh.
And
so these were old Edison cylinders, incredibly valuable. Nobody's making them anymore. And the guy was a collector, and he was showing Chris, and he dropped it.
No, he did.
No, he cracked it.
He cracked it, but like I don't know how much of it was acting, but he was as if he was nervous to be on TV, and he was like, "There's."
It was both. He was like nervous. He was nervous about executing the joke correctly. And so he was getting. And the thing is, they were all blank cylinders, so they weren't really worth anything. The ones that are valuable are the ones that have already been recorded on. And so when we did that, Chris was like, "Whoa!" It was like totally kind of like he kind of freaked out. But what was interesting was the following week, it suddenly became like it went viral, and a bunch of companies or television stations are asking for copies of it to run in their TV's bloopers and practical jokes or whatever. And it started a thing where it just showed up on like the funniest or the dumbest thing to do on TV.
Well, the guy was a good actor.
Yes.
People believed it. Do you have that? I saw that video. Do you have that? Is that the Chris Brillo? Is that it?
Oh, it doesn't look right.
That's before then. I don't know what that is.
That was passed through the chat room.
Video about building a PC.
Although we do have the wax cylinder.
This is it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got it.
That was a bad word was said there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Chris didn't know. He's shaky.
It's really cool because it records much more accurately than. Oh. Oh my God.
Well, that does happen every once in a while. That can't be good. Now,
I like Chris. He's going to keep it going. It doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah, the show must go on.
Show must go on.
That was a great show. That whole call for help-a-thon.
Really good.
We had the guy that did who sang "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer."
Yeah.
And we brought him on set, and he played the song. But we had Chris Breen in the
Patsy and Elmo. Yeah.
Try to rip.
It's kind of sad.
CD
Patsy and Elmo broke up. And they fought over the rights because there was some money in that. Elmo ended up getting the rights to Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. He would go around playing it.
Is this the song?
Veterinary.
This is it. Kevin, Kat, Morgan, Megan, Martin.
In the background we can see friends like Darcy.
Yoshi, Darcy. There's Paul Block.
Producer, now what rhymes with Yosh?
He actually is really talented.
Is there a
You remember that? He's blocked out. John's blocked out almost everything he did at Texas.
Is there a thing that this man does not know?
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I don't know if we pull him out. Oh no, there he is. So it was another time we pulled him out of the fridge.
And we should give credit to Dave Roos and Allison Picard, who also did a lot of really good B-roll and all that
there. That was so much fun. A lot of fun. Let us take a break. We'll come back. Final words, final thoughts. We've gone a long time.
It's too bad the owners of that place had a clue.
If we could get those tapes, that's the kind of stuff we could show in good quality. Yeah. Although the irony is it really wouldn't be that good quality. You'd see it now, and it's not HD. It's SD, right?
Yes.
It wouldn't look like this.
No.
Isn't that sad? Here we are with $1,500 consumer camcorders.
What are you, a Luddite?
I'm a Luddite.
Yeah, you Luddite.
I'm a Luddite. We're going to wrap up our 10th anniversary celebration and give you one more time a look at the new screensavers and tell you where you could find that. It's coming May 2nd. Our show today brought to you by My Mattress. One of the things when we started TWiT, I thought, wouldn't it be great? First of all, we said we'll never have ads. That didn't last very long because the Patreon didn't exist then. And it was very hard. We took donations to PayPal, but you couldn't make enough money for more than one person.
Right.
And I wasn't really willing to do everything. I would do all the editing and go home. Sunday nights, I'd go home at midnight because I had to do all the matching of sound and stuff. But then we said, okay, we're going to take ads, but wouldn't it be nice if they weren't tech ads because then there'd be no conflict of interest, right? Never were able to get tech ads, non-tech ads. Now we're getting non-tech ads, and people are saying, what's with the mattress ads?
Isn't it a 3D printed mattress? No, I'm kidding.
So I can't win. But the truth is this is a tech ad because you couldn't do this until the internet came along. Casper eliminates the idea, which was on the face of it a crazy idea, that you could choose a mattress by going and lying on one in broad daylight for 5 minutes while the sales girl gives you the stink eye. It is not a good experience. And let me tell you, I just bought my mattress that way a couple of years ago, and it was too hard. So Casper says, look, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make these great American-made mattresses. They're memory foam and latex. They combine firmness but give in a way that is incredible. We are going to ship it to you. And by the way, that's a queen-size mattress in the box you're seeing if you're watching the video. That's what's amazing. I got one for my son. He wanted a queen. He's up 3 flights of stairs. It's the only way we could get a mattress up there. He loves it in college. And you have 100 days to sleep on it. And any time in the first 100 days, you can return it. They pay the shipping to you. They pay the shipping back. No cost to you. You don't have to worry. That is a trial. That's the way. But does that look comfy?
Springs or memory foam?
It's memory foam, and then on top of it, latex. I don't know. You should try it. We will get you one if you want. They're really incredible. If you go to Casper.com/twit, you can get yours. It's $500 for a twin, all the way up to $950 for a king size, a lot less than the mattress at the mattress store. And we're going to cut $50 off as an audience member if you go to Casper, CASPER.com/twit, and use the promo code TWIT. Casper, C-A-S-P-E. No, he's not dead. It's just sleeping. Casper, CASPER.com/twit. Use the promo code TWIT. 100 days to try it. It is incredible. Really thrilled with our Casper mattresses. And you know what? They've been a sponsor for a long time because it's a great product at a great price. There's a long list of thank yous and names to mention. First, let me thank Jason Howell, who really worked very hard.
Thank you.
Each and every week, actually.
Every week.
Oh, thanks.
And before Jason, it was Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
And before Chad Johnson, it was Eileen Rivera. I've been blessed with great producers. Before that, Dane Golden. Great producers producing our Twitch shows. So many staffers have been here for so long. John Slanina, our studio manager. Frederic Louis Hale, who mans the front desk. You know, if I go through all the names, I'm going to miss somebody. But we have such a great team of people, and we couldn't do it without them. Through the years, people like Dick DiBartolo, Paul Thurrott, Steve Gibson, all of our hosts, and all of you. Twit doesn't exist because of me. It exists because of you, our great audience, and the great people who get together every day to make great Twit programming. Thank you. Excuse me, from the bottom of... I'm going to die of cancer now.
No.
Hey, don't cough on me if that's the case. John, you said we'd go together.
I meant in a car over a cliff.
We should make a pact that whoever goes first, I'll go to your funeral.
Okay.
Roger.
You would anyway.
I would. You want me to do the eulogy?
No. God, no.
I come not to praise John C. Dvorak, but to bury him.
Colleen, our first director of engineering. So many people. I
saw her the other day.
She's doing great. She's at Facebook now. She always told me, I hired her.
Yeah,
she was a sociology major at San Jose State in her last year.
You're losing it. You're losing your voice. Get him some water.
I have some, I'm sure. She wanted an internship. It's giant, isn't it? Look at the size of that. She wanted an internship, and I gave her the tour, talked to her, and I said, I'm not going to give you an internship. I'm going to hire you. She finished her year of school, but she always told me, if I get a job at Google, I'm gone. She got a job at Google.
And she was gone.
And she was gone. But she built the first Skyposaurus, the 4-headed Skype beast. Remember that?
Yes.
Well, what an improvement that was. Yes. Because for the first maybe 100 shows, we were all on the same Skype channel. That was horrible. I spent so many hours tweaking and editing each individual voice.
Well, I think I was starting to laugh because at one point you did this experiment. We were all recording locally, and then we were sending the audio tracks.
Oh, double-ended recording.
And that's trying to reconcile everything, and then
we did that once.
Twice, because I ended up helping do that.
Horrible.
Once. I spent 24 hours.
Oh, I remember
in the
that
office
because I was going on vacation or something. Yeah,
it was
horrible, wasn't it? Thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
Finally, he got his thanks.
I'll never forget though. You did do one show under your car.
Yeah, I was changing the brakes.
It was run over.
Wozniak was on. Seamus was very young.
Your
was
young son.
Losing his mind in the house. I ended up out front changing the brakes on the car, talking on the laptop and talking to you guys.
Wasn't it a handset too, that you were using that looked like a telephone handset?
Weirder things have happened.
Was it another time? I don't remember.
Like talking about, gearheading with Waz on TWiT while working on my car. That was a good day.
We didn't, when we first started the show, as I said, it was called The Revenge of the Screensavers. You have clip 4 there. This is audio only. We were trying to come up with a better name for the show. Yeah. And we asked our audience. Both the logo was from the audience. Dorothy Yamamoto, among many others, submitted that. She was a designer who had taken some time off to raise a family, wanted to get back into design, and did the TWiT logo. But at the first, it was on the side. It was an and gate or a NAND gate. And I said, add an I and make it upright.
Was it one of these?
Look at those are some of the original. Some of those are more recent.
I mean, when I went digging, I found this random page that just happened to have these thumbnails up at the top. And
that upper left, that was the original logo, the Revenge of the Screensavers. I can't remember who gave us that. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that.
But and these are just some random ones.
Other submissions. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bottom 3, I think we did.
Yes,
of course,
exactly. It kind of did the
current.
evolution basically from early on, and
yeah. And then you have somewhere us trying to decide what to call the show.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a longer clip. It's almost 2 minutes, but it's basically a bunch of name suggestions and where you ended up.
Well, I'll cut it off. Let's hear.
Hello, Angels. This is Leo Laporte welcoming you to the next and last edition of the Return of the...
This was the theme? I had to bleep it.
Yeah, that's right. The last. Because we have a new name, and we're not going to call it that anymore, and I'm getting... tired of bleeping out.
Talk about vocal fry.
So it's not the Return of the Screen anymore. Thank goodness. We got so many creative, clever submissions. You want to hear some of the names that people sent in?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Saved by the
Heron.
Geeks. WWSSD. What would the Screensavers do?
I cut it.
No.
Are you now or have you ever been a G4 employee? Return of the Meat Popsicles. Goodfellows. But I think maybe Geek Fellas might be good. This Week in Geek, which is the closest to the one we're, I think, going to actually use. What do you think of This Week in Geek?
That's not bad at all.
We could call it Geek Week. Twig, yeah, TWIG. The Attack of the Podcast. Reunion of Tech Support Scholars. She wanted to keep the ROTSS acronym. Reunion of Tech Support Scholars. The Revenge of the Dark Tipping, Sledgehammer Swinging, PC Modding, Lab Rat Tech Guys.
Excellent.
It's a little long.
Winner.
But I like it. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that I think we're going to go. Robert, you weren't in on this conversation because you were busy finding headsets, but I think we're going to go with the boring This Week in Tech, TWiT. And the only reason is I think the podcast has to say in its name what it is, because otherwise, when people look at it in the directory, they'll have no clue. Is that so boring that we should just say no? Oh, thanks for backing me up, guys. You guys were all in shock.
I think the Skype just faded out again.
Oh, it's a Skype problem.
Same here, Leo. Same here.
Yeah, right. You couldn't hear what I was saying.
Technical difficulties.
That was it.
That's what. So that's it. TWiT was just kind of let's just try it.
Well, I remember a few weeks later, you were starting to. You were having. I think I'm going to call it a panic attack. Remember, like sitting in the office, you're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a good name. But what else are you going to call it?"
I talked to him on the phone, and it was the same thing. He was totally panicked about it. You called me. So, do you think we should keep this name? I said, yeah, it's a great name. And you got the logo.
But you're like, but it's TWiT.
That was exactly what he said to me, too.
Well, good. You guys advised me to stick with it.
Yes.
And that was good advice.
And that and $5 we can get a cup of coffee.
But it's really good coffee.
Yeah, well. Yeah,
have espresso, have some food. We've got cupcakes. Thanks to also, we really couldn't have done any of this without an amazing community of people who participate in so many ways. They create the chat room. They run the chat room. With Dan, our moderator, has been there for more than 10 years. The people who come to visit us in the studio, we love you all. We really appreciate that. The people who watch at home every day, the emails I get from all around the world. I had a caller today from Islamabad, Pakistan, who's a big fan and congratulated us on our 10 years anniversary. With people all over the world, we would not exist without the great community. We did it because people said you need to do this, and we continue to do it because you support us. Without you, there is no TWiT. So thank you, and I mean you very much. Can we run one more time the new Screensavers Open? Don't forget, it's coming May 2nd is our first show. Saturday, May 2nd. Patrick Norton, you're going to be my co-host. We bought 2 Segways. We can ride Segways into the studio. we measured.
I want to drive your Audi into the studio.
There you go.
And you guys had the first live televised Segway crash on the screensaver.
It'd be good.
No, you already had it back during the screen.
Even Prager.
Wozniak. Steve Wozniak brought like 8 Segways.
Yeah, we crashed them into each other on live TV. It never happened before.
That never happened before.
It was a huge breakthrough. He won an Emmy, I believe, for that.
And so we're going to run that again. But very, very deep thanks to Robert Heron, to Patrick Norton, to John C. Dvorak, to David Prager, to Roger Chang, to Kevin Rose, who couldn't be here, the original screensavers, the original Revenge of the Screensavers, the original twits. Thanks to everybody who's here. And, hey, I'll say it 10 years in a row. I don't know when I started saying it, but I think it was very early on. Another twit is in the can. Thank you very much.